or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Today's coverage of SEC Media Days is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's #1 retail mortgage lender. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is Day 2. Got to turn that down just a hair. Day 2 of the SEC Football Media Days live from the College Football Hall of Fame in downtown Atlanta. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you on a Tuesday morning. And a big thank you to our good friend John Kendall over at Cross Country Mortgage for helping us bring you Day 2 coverage from Atlanta. And if you are wanting a premier day, now tomorrow we have Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. That is going to be a big day. But today, Drew DeArmond, we have got we've got 4 more teams. Really, you could make a case, and one school you're probably going to like. You're going to have to make a bigger case, but you could make a case that you could see 2 of the 4 play in the SEC championship game, 2 of the 4 win and possibly play for a national championship. You could see the other 2. I don't know. They could make double-digit season runs. They could be outsiders. But we have got 4 intriguing teams today. Georgia Bulldogs, the Auburn Tigers, Tennessee Volunteers, and the Texas Longhorns all here in Atlanta on Day 2.
Yeah, no doubt. And Texas is going to get a ton of love and maybe the preseason pick. I think they will be to win the Southeastern Conference and maybe even the national championship. It's the Arch Manning era, so that's going to get a lot of hype, no doubt about it. And so we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to all the conversation that's going to entail, because I think everyone saw a little bit of Arch last year, and he had a chance to play in some non-conference games when Ewers got a little banged up, and he played well. And, but it's not the SEC. He hasn't been in these high leverage games yet. And you can't get any more high leverage, Scott, than what we're going to see out of him, of course, in the opener in the Horseshoe against Ohio State, and very likely Julian Sand, former Alabama signee.
Yeah. So We mentioned we mentioned the Georgia Bulldogs. We mentioned the Texas Longhorns. Both of them possibly college football national championship contenders. Both of them, you think, have a great shot to get to Atlanta and play for the SEC championship. But all four, Georgia, Auburn, Tennessee, and Texas, all four programs have question marks at the quarterback spot. All four of them.
Well, you can definitely say that, but they also have the chance to, and there's a possibility that all four of them, especially Auburn, Oklahoma, and Texas, could be elite at the position. Because I think we've already seen John Mateer, who's going to be the QB at Oklahoma. He was probably the best quarterback on the West Coast last year. He just played on a team without a conference at Washington State, over 3,000 passing yards, nearly 900 rushing, 44 total touchdowns. So, 6'1", 6'2", 225 pounds, a definite dual threat QB. So he's dangerous. And then Jackson Arnold, a former 5-star. There was a lot of expectation on him last year at Oklahoma, but his supporting cast wasn't very good. The offensive line especially was subpar due to Oklahoma standards. And then, just his wide receiver core was ravaged by injuries. Now he's going to Auburn. They've got some veteran pieces, on their offensive line, especially guard in the two guards in the center. And we're hopefully going to hear from Connor Liu today during the show. But, again, it's one of those things. But at tackle, Too Miller, he's back at right tackle, but he's going to have to, really compete for his job because Auburn invested in the transfer portal at offensive tackle, and Mason Murphy's coming over and then done a nice job, and he's going to be competing with Too, and then Xavier Chaplin from Virginia Tech. Auburn has got to get a left tackle that's serviceable, because that was a big part of their problem last year, because they invested in Percy Lewis and he wasn't good, and so that's why one of the reasons Auburn struggled, because they didn't do a consistent enough job along the offensive line. They didn't throw and catch well enough. I thought they ran the ball well enough. I was always a Hunter, a Jarquavius Hunter. I thought his career won't be as appreciated because the teams he played on didn't have a good record.
Right.
But it wouldn't surprise me if he has a long pro career, and he did a nice job. And now it'll be interesting to see how they fill those shoes. But speaking of that, we're fixing to talk some Auburn.
So Hugh Freeze, by the way, he will take to the podium at 11:15 this morning. You will be able to hear that here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. By the way, if you want to know the lineup, 9:05, we will have Kirby Smart for you. At 12:30, we will have Josh Heupel. And then at 2:15, you will be able to hear from Steve Sarkisian. But the Auburn Tigers, one of the two teams that will be making the rounds here this morning. And when you look at the Auburn Tigers, there are questions. But the one thing we have heard from Hugh Freeze is that he feels like that the pieces are there better than what they have been, and he really likes this wide receiver room that they've assembled.
Yeah, they really have, and we're going to talk about that and more with our first guest. He does a great job with the Locked On Auburn Daily podcast, and that is Zach Blackerby. We caught up with him last year, and once again, we're basically right next to one another.
We're neighbors. Yes.
That's again. But Zach, man, we appreciate you taking some time, and this is a big year for Auburn. Now, look, I'm not one of them that we haven't dwelled on the golf thing, and I've been saying on my show since that stuff started coming out, and then they started talking about the recruiting rankings. It reminds me of Florida last year. Now, do I think he was feeling a little heat? Yeah, but it's just about winning. You got a WIN because I thought they were going to break through last year and win 8 or 9, and they probably should have, but they just couldn't finish football games. Just surprisingly, several of them at Jordan-Hare Stadium. But I just think this opener at Baylor is really big.
Yeah, it's one of it might be the biggest season opener that I can remember for Auburn. Like, I can't really think of another one. Like, there were big games like Oregon and Washington, but it felt like there wasn't this much on the line for it. So, yeah, Baylor's crucial. I mean, especially it seems like 8-4 has kind of been the number that a lot of people that I talk to is like, we'd feel good about 8-4. Like, I have a hard time seeing you get there if you lose to Baylor.
Oh, no question.
So the one thing, the last 2 years, Peyton Thorne, director of the offense, the quarterback spot.
Yeah.
Last year we were sitting in Dallas, and it was, okay, Peyton Thorne's got to improve. We think he can improve. Year 2 in the offense. He can get it done. Didn't really quite get it done on a consistent level. So Auburn goes out. They get Jackson Arnold.
Yeah.
Now Hugh Freeze is like, man, he fits the offense. He does what we want him to do. He's got all the tools to get it done. Here we go again. He's got to get it done. Difference between Jackson Arnold and Peyton Thorne.
Well, I think the ceiling is tremendously higher for sure with Jackson Arnold. I mean, he was a 5-star for a reason. He was a guy that everybody wanted coming out of high school. And a year ago, I remember people talking up Jackson Arnold like crazy, talking about how interesting Oklahoma was going to be. Mm-hmm. And I was the only one out here that I'm like, they're replacing an entirely new offensive line. Like, that's got to matter to some extent. And clearly it did. And then the receiver situation was maybe even worse somehow. So what happens now with Jackson Arnold in this new system? You guys were talking about offensive line, like right when I sat down. And so they go out and get Xavier Chaplin, who, I mean, he's getting mocked in the first round, which I think is a tad aggressive, but I think he's a good player. And then, obviously Connor Lew, we'll hear from him at some point today. He's going to be one of the best centers in college football. Then you bring everybody back. Dylan Wade being able to scoot back inside to his natural position at guard, super experienced. Jeremiah Wright's been playing football at Auburn for going on 20 years.
I was going to ask you if he's on Social Security because I was like, wow, he's back for a redshirt senior year.
Yeah, and he used to be a defensive lineman and an O-line, switched back to D-line. So, Auburn really messed up his development the first half, so props to him for staying. And then at right tackle, super interesting, they go out and get the number 2 tackle in the portal with Mason Murphy from USC. I'm a Tall Miller guy. I'm a believer. So that's going to be a fascinating battle at right tackle. But the O-line, I think Auburn has a top 5 offensive line in the SEC.
Right, should when you look at the pieces, because Connor Lew, I can't believe he's already a junior, first of all, but he was heavily recruited. They flipped him from Miami. He's here for a reason, in my opinion. They think he's one of the best, if not the best center in the league. Right. So,
when's the last time we said Auburn, though, has a top offensive line?
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
But I will say their interior with Dylan Wade, Zach made a great point of moving to his natural position inside at guard.
And they tried to do it last year, but Percy just wasn't good enough. Y'all hinted at that.
Percy Lewis was not good enough. Now, here's the luxury, though, because he just said he's a Tall Miller guy. If you heavily invested in Mason Murphy and Chaplin, what if he can be the swing guy? And you can even – because I'll say this in this climate of college football, Zach, when you because the goal is to play 15, 16, 17 games. You got to develop depth because somebody's going to get banged up. Somebody's going to get hurt. So, to me, this would be a real luxury that Auburn had in a long time is depth at tackle. Because I'll say this, too, Alabama doesn't have depth at offensive tackle. So, if you get somebody hurt, it can really mess things up.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Tall that's probably going to be a backup. Tyler Johnson's a guy that really came on last year. They like him, too. He'll probably start next year for Auburn in 2026. But I mean, Broderick Scholl was one of the highest ranked tackle prospects coming out of high school. I mean, you don't want to throw a true freshman in there, but if that's your 5th option, it's you take that at tackle for sure. 100%. Yeah. Auburn's got depth at O-line like I've never seen since covering the team.
So Hugh Freeze likes this wide receiver room. They've upgraded this wide receiver room quite a bit. But then I start looking through I was like, you know what? I'm going to start looking through the records here. They've not had an all SEC wide receiver performer since 1994.
Wow, I was 1 year old.
They've not had a 1,000-yard receiver since 1999.
Yeah,
we talk a lot about how the offensive line has kind of been ups and down, and through Gus Malzahn, through all that stuff.
Well,
the Auburn fans have been waiting for a wide receiver to come through. And they've had some good ones, but they've not had really good big time. Can Cam Coleman take that next step?
Yes, absolutely. Now, some of that depends on the quarterback. You got to get him the ball. Some of it depends on play calling. But assuming he's being given an opportunity to execute and succeed, 100%. I mean, with Eric Singleton on the other side,
he's
Malcolm Simmons, he's electric. Malcolm Simmons, Horatio Fields, you just have to. There's a lot of guys on this Auburn offense now where if you're a defensive coordinator, you have to do special things for. Whether it's from a size standpoint, a speed standpoint, or just overall ability. And Yeah, I mean, Auburn hasn't had anything like this in a long time.
Well, I'll just say this about Eric Singleton. And what I was going to say, what you were saying, Scott, he may not have been voted all conference.
Right.
But I'm sitting there in the Iron Bowl, and I'm watching it from the press box. And I think he went in the 4th round, which I think is just blasphemous. Because, look, if he had played with a quarterback that was not turnover prone and was good, Keandre Lambert-Smith should have been a top 2-round pick. He was a stud. Okay,
he's going to be a steal. I think.
I mean,
when he ran that 4-4 or whatever, I'm
no. Yeah, and but
like interesting.
When I watched
why did
him,
we not see that?
The first thing I said is, how can James Franklin let him walk? Because, Penn State was in the playoff, and I'm watching him for Auburn. I'm like, man, this guy is really good. But it's just like Jarquez Hunter. He didn't play on a great team. So a lot of times if you don't play on a great team, you don't make all conference. But I think Keandre was the best receiver I've seen at Auburn in a while. And then I watched Singleton at Georgia Tech. His Tech had a surprising year. Yeah. And when Auburn got him out of the portal, I was like, man, they just replaced, and maybe no drop-off. And look, I think Cam's got a lot of potential, but wide receiver 1 for me is Singleton.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably leads in receptions. Cam may lead in yards is kind of maybe a prediction that I'll have going into the season. But, I mean, what a great conversation to have. I mean, Auburn hasn't had that. I mean, 2014, like they had Sammy and Duke. Okay, but I think these guys are better.
And then we got to talk about the running back room. Hunter, again, all underrated, his career. But now we've had some guys like Austin, Cobb. They've been waiting their turn. What's your thought on the running back room?
Yeah, so Hugh Freeze was asked last night at his ambush event, running back by committee, or, Auburn historically has had like a bell cow. Like, what's the approach here? And it sounds like they're totally comfortable going running back by committee going into the season. If somebody emerges over time, then, they'll ride the hot hand. But this running back room, ironically, I think it's going to get more of an opportunity than Jarquez Hunter did because all of the RPO stuff. Mm-hmm. And if I'm defending Auburn, I'm more worried about the passing game for reasons we just discussed than them handing it off to Damari or Jeremiah or Darrell Robinson, whoever might be that guy. So I think they've got, I like that they're all 3 very different backs. And so if you're going to do the running back by committee thing, like I think this makes sense more than in like most situations. But I think over time, one of them will step up in the second half of the season. That'll kind of be the guy.
You mentioned the ambush tour, and I think this is the 3rd stop along this ambush tour, something like that. It's given us something to talk about because John Cohen, Hugh Freeze, they've talked about recruiting. They've talked about the numbers. They've talked about financial things. And it's not about the golf stuff. That has nothing to do with it. But where do you think and how do you think Auburn is approaching this recruiting cycle right now with the numbers being low and not being where they used to seeing? I mean, look, Hugh Freeze has had top 5 recruiting class. The guy has not forgotten how to recruit. It's not like he's woken up and all of a sudden can't recruit. What is that factor that's going on right now?
I mean, the messaging from Cohen and Freeze seems very aligned, which is good, is they believe that other schools are offering more above market value for these players, and they don't think that it's going to go through once August 1st goes on. You can put offers on paper. Right. So is that what's going to happen? I don't know. But that's what they believe is going to happen, and we'll learn more mid-August. And he did make the comment because he was asked, well, what if this doesn't happen? Right. And he said Auburn is in a spot where it can do whatever it takes to get these kids.
WIN. If you win, I think it turns.
I don't know if it's the winning as much. I really think Auburn is offering way less money because of these house settlement stuff, because they're losing guys to Kentucky and FSU. FSU won 2 games last year. I really don't think it's all about the winning. If they were losing every kid to Bama or Georgia, I think that would make a little bit more sense. But I think it's – Hugh Freeze made the comment. He's like, our offers are like way lower than other teams. So I think it's how Auburn feels like they're navigating within the house settlement. If they feel like those rules aren't enforced or it was misinterpreted or whatever, they've made it pretty clear that they've got the resources to meet these offers.
Last few minutes with Zach Blackerby locked on Auburn. Defensively, now DJ Durkin is got a great reputation. Ohio State came knocking. Auburn upped his pay. Keldrick Falk, to me, I saw him in high school at Highland Home. I thought,
You went to Highland Home?
No, I was at the state basketball tournament. See, I'm a hoop head, man, and I watched him and his brother Jacaleb both play basketball.
Got it.
And when I watched them both, I was like, these two are big time athletes, and so I thought when Auburn flipped Keldrick from Florida State, it was huge. I think he's a future first round pick. He's going to lead the D line. They played a lot of young guys last year on defense. What's the outlook for them right now, Zach?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to start and end with Keldrick for sure. I mean, Auburn hasn't had an impact player like him on the front since Derek Brown. I mean,
Very good point.
I think he's very, very good, very, very special. I mean, mocked as one of the first non-quarterbacks taken. That's pretty consistently. So that's neat. I think Auburn's secondary is elite. It's young, but I think it's elite. I am a Jay Crawford guy. I think this is the year Jay Crawford says, hey, I'm going to be one of the most improved players in the SEC. I think Kane Lee's really good. They brought in 2 other starting caliber corners in the transfer portal.
Depth.
Depth and competition, all of that. And then safety's a really nice mix of experience and super, super just high upside talented kids.
And then they get Champ Anthony back, who I think was a big loss last year. He just seemed like he was coming into his own. I could tell by Hugh Freeze's body language that loss was huge.
It was big. Yeah, it sounds like he scooted inside to nickel because the outside corners have been so good. So
which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
Evan, we get McPherson back this year, right?
Huge.
And that's another huge one. And we all know how good he is in our neck of the woods at Fort Payne High School.
I tell you what, I mean, you want to talk about someone that's if he's out there and kicking. I don't know. The SEC doesn't have a comeback player of the year award, but if they did, pencil him in for making it back.
I mean, he literally didn't miss, his one full year. And if he were to do that again after, all the health battles, what a great story that'd be for that kid.
Look, man, we all know, we always talk about this school being, wide receiver, running back, whatever. Auburn is kicker university. So them having a revolving door last year,
it felt weird.
Even though we had our guy Bashan from Madison Academy kicking at the end, it was weird.
Yeah.
It was just totally weird.
It was weird, and it was
where they couldn't find consistency at the position.
It was also something you can't prepare for.
Right.
You can't prepare for someone getting that sick, not being counted on, and trying to do a rotating thing.
And then, Zach, before we let you go, we've already talked about how big the Baylor game is because we talked to Brian Matthews a lot. He's a great friend of ours.
Cool.
And so he told us that opener is so big because if you're 2-4, because the end of September, their toughest stretch of the schedule's in the middle, and when they go to OU, Texas A&M take a break, Georgia comes in. So if you're 2-4, there's not recruiting momentum. Probably even with a lot of NIL money, there's going to be a lot of questions about Hugh Freeze. Just talk about the schedule and what is the ceiling for this Auburn team? I still think 8-9 wins, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean the stretch after Georgia going into the Iron Bowl, there's 5 games that I think Auburn will be favored in all 5 of those games.
Yes.
And Auburn hasn't had a stretch like that in a few years where they've probably been the better team on paper at 5 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be crucial. Now, it does always seem like, Hugh Freeze has a game or 2 every year where he loses a game he shouldn't. It's like you've got to win those 5 games. But if you win those 5 games, you take care of, the 2 in the first few weeks, there's totally a path to 8 or 9 wins. I 100% agree with you.
Now, my fork in the road is Oklahoma and Norman. What is yours?
I think they split that 2-game road stretch. I think they beat Oklahoma, and I think they lose to Texas A&M.
Interesting.
Really
good stuff.
Wow. Good stuff, though.
We know it's going to be a busy day for you. Auburn about to take over this place, but you do a great job with Locked On Auburn, and let everybody know how to follow you in your work, man.
Yeah, Locked On Auburn, available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Multiple shows dropping every day.
See, we told you, not one golf question.
Yeah, none.
I think that's the first. I've done 5 or 6 interviews already this week, and that's in the first question.
You see what he snuck in there, too?
What?
And I'm a gear guy,
He's
got a Nike polo with his Locked On.
I just
noticed that. I know.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird to look at some of the new stuff coming out and see it.
It's not available until the end of this month, though, in the stores. But he's already ahead of the game, man.
Custom.
There you go.
Let's
Custom
go.
stuff.
All right. Thanks,
Job, Zach. Thank you, man.
Thanks, 7:22 on a Tuesday morning, day 2 of SEC Media Days live from the College Football Hall of Fame. We roll on after this break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal.
The Drive in Atlanta is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate, and Adams. We know great homes. Eagle Masonry and Insulation will save you money. Jacob Title, the place to call for all your closing needs. And by Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we show up.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
This is Steve Moulton for Tellini's Italiano. Tellini's Italiano is located right in front of the Walmart, right off of University, behind the McDonald's. More or less catty corner from Topgolf. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and if you go there, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to try the baked spaghetti, add a meatball. Also try the baked ziti with meat sauce, add sausage. You'll thank me. Save room for some pizzas and paninis as well. And don't forget about dessert as well. The best cheesecake I have had here in North Alabama is at Tellini's Italiano. Find out for yourself today. That's Tellini's Italiano, right off of University Drive in front of the Walmart. Located online at Tellinis.com. That's TELLINIS.com. Let's get some Tellini's tonight.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Best of all, now Thompson Tractor is making that investment even better with our Workhorse Special. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the purchase of a new Cat 255 compact track loader that comes with a 3-year warranty. You also get a 74-inch bucket and 1,000-hour filter kit. But hurry, this offer is only good through June 30th. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor. We're here for you.
The Atlanta Braves.
3-2. Swung on, ground ball up the middle. Let's go for a ride. Here comes Eli. Across the plate standing. Braves win. Never gets old, does it?
All season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Today's coverage of SEC Media Days is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's #1 retail mortgage lender.
Big thank you to our good friend John Kendall over at Cross Country Mortgage. You can get a hold of John, 256-652-1932. That is John Kendall at Cross Country Mortgage. Cross Country Mortgage, the #1 mortgage dealer in America. Give them a call, 256-652-1932. You can also find them online at crosscountrymortgage.com and apply now. He's got all kinds of things for you. You can refinance, you can buy a home, mortgage pre-approval, first-time home buyers, home purchase loans, down payment assistance programs. Connor Liu, I believe that's Connor Liu. That is Connor Liu, and wow, take a look at the suit. Take a look.
As we foreshadowed.
That is a small individual.
No. That is an A1 looking suit right there, man.
Man.
We were foreshadowing that he would be over here in this hour, so
put some pads on him. Wow,
from arguably the best center in the Southeastern Conference. So
true. That's a special. I mean, that's a big boy right there.
That's what we call a hoss, man.
I bet you he could throw down a meal or two. He's reminds me of Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, I must break you.
But seriously, I mean, with the hair.
That's what I thought the first when he walked by. There you go.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yep, I must break you. Yeah.
Anyway, the Auburn Tigers, Hugh Freeze. Again, you can listen to Hugh Freeze this morning at 11:15 over the airways of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 9:05, you can hear Kirby Smart. 12:30, Josh Heupel. And then at 2:15, Steve Sarkisian, as we bring you back in day 2 of SEC Media Days from the College Football Hall of Fame downtown Atlanta. Yesterday, what a day it was. LSU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt all making the rounds. Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin. I wanted to say
I knew you were about to say it.
Lane Kiffin was asked about 9 games yesterday. Here's his response to playing 8 or 9 within the Southeastern Conference.
Well, I'm flying over here. I read the commissioner this morning and things that he said, and thought there was something in there interesting when he talked about the 9 games versus 8 games. And then people will say, well, this conference plays 9 games, this plays 8 games. Well, I don't think there's anybody that would trade their 9 games and want to come play our 8 games that you play down here. And the places that you play down here, you guys that have covered the SEC for a while, you can have teams that aren't even having a really good year for them, but you got to go play at their place down here, and it's just different. So the scheduling here in this conference and what you do week to week, and then the NFL draft shows that too. Those are the players you're playing against. And it's so balanced throughout the conference that every week you got to really show up. It's really like the NFL.
That's Lane Kiffin talking at 8 versus 9. I tell you what, let's get a break in right now because when we come back, Connor Liu will be with us here along Radio Row.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Travel accommodations for 97.7 ESPN The Zone provided by University Kia. Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. A couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Otherwise, temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s. Heat indices climbing into the upper 90s, lower triple digits. Temperatures drop into the mid-70s as we head into the overnight. Much the same as we head into your Wednesday. Mostly to partly sunny sky. Temperatures in the 90s, scattered showers and thunderstorms.
Your Fox 54 weather only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey folks, Bobby White back again, and I'm here to tell you now is the time to get the Ford you've been thinking about. From zero down leases to 0% financing, we've got it going on this summer. Woody Anderson Ford has financing as low as 0% for 48 months, plus zero down payment, plus zero payments for 90 days, plus 2-year, 25,000-mile complimentary maintenance. You can choose a 2025 Escape, F-150, Explorer, or a Mustang. Or how about zero down lease, $499 a month for a 2025 Explorer, F-150, or Bronco, and just $399 a month for Bronco Sport, Mustang, and Escape. Again, these are zero down with complimentary maintenance too. This is a 36-month lease with zero down, zero security deposit, just tax, tag, title, and your good credit. These offers end 9/2/25. It's our Woody Anderson Ford Summer Sales Event, so hurry on down. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
Today's coverage of SEC Media Days is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's #1 retail mortgage lender.
Indeed, John Kendall, Cross Country Mortgage, helping us make day 2 of the SEC Media Days from the College Football Hall of Fame possible. Big thank you to him. Again, crosscountrymortgage.com, or just give him a call, 256-562-3780. It's john.kendall@ccm.com. That is how you can get a hold of John Kendall and the Cross Country Mortgage team. We mentioned Connor Liu a little bit ago, Drew, and he is making his way over here right now to sit down with us and have a little discussion.
Absolutely. He's maybe arguably the best center in the Southeastern Conference, and this Auburn offensive line may be the best they've had in years. We just talked to Zach Blackerby about that, and we get to have the guy in the pivot now. He's with us here at Digital Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, and that is Connor Liu. This is from his backyard, too. He's from this area.
Yes.
Connor, what's going on, brother?
I'm happy to be here. Happy to be back home.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does this feel like for you? I mean, a lot of guys make that appearance at SEC Media Days, and you got to travel a lot. Last year we were in Dallas, so you come from Auburn to Dallas. But for you to be here in your backyard representing Auburn, does it feel any more different?
I think it just adds on to how much of a big deal this is, doing it at home, representing Auburn in Atlanta. So again, I can't speak on how honored I am to be here.
I wanted to ask, that's a good piggyback. Because what was it like when Coach Freeze told you were going to be coming to represent your school and your backyard? What was that like for you?
I mean, like I said, it's a great honor to be here, represent Auburn, represent the football team, represent the university, my teammates, all that.
All right, take us inside this line of scrimmage. We've never played the game, but playing center within the Southeastern Conference, and we just heard a lot of the coaches are saying, man, look, 8 games, 9 games, come play an SEC schedule and find out how tough it is to play 8 games. What's it like playing the center position in this conference?
I mean, there's no weeks off, and that's the biggest reason why I chose to come play in the SEC. As soon as you finish one game, you got to watch the tape, learn from your mistakes, and go on and move on to the next week, because you got another All-American nose or 3 technique or someone you got to block and start watching film on so you don't get behind. So that's what I like about it. You're on your toes the whole season.
Well, and the expectations for this Auburn team are going up, no question about it. And this offensive line, I think you guys could end up with the best interior offensive line group, the 2 guards and yourself, in the conference. Now that Dylan Wade is going to slide back inside, very likely next to you at left guard, how big is that for the continuity of this offensive line?
I think it's huge. The biggest thing is, like you said, we not only do we have a bunch of talent, but we got a lot of returning experience in this offense. We all know the calls. We know what's expected. It makes it easier getting into fall camp. You're starting on, with a lot of experience under your belt. So just to transition into the season and helping the young guys get developed for the season as well. I mean, it's a long season, so any amount of experience I think helps.
Mm-hmm. How do you develop chemistry with a new quarterback? Jackson Arnold comes in. he has spent a lot of time there, indoctrinating himself within the program, wanting to work with the wide receivers, not going to the Manning Passing Academy, wanting to work with you guys. How do you get on the same page? How do you develop chemistry?
I think it's just all about spending as much time together as possible, on and off the field. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've gone out to eat with the running backs, and Jackson was there. We've gone out with the receivers. Jackson was there. Just surrounding yourself, and then also watching film together. That helps a lot, too. Just surrounding yourself with each other and immersing yourself in the offense. I think that's the fastest way to gel.
And we're here with Connor Lew, junior center for the Auburn Tigers. First of all, I can't believe you're already a junior because, again, your career has just kind of flown by. I remember when you flipped from Miami just like it was yesterday. But the offensive line is a brotherhood. How have you guys helped, Xavier Chaplin and Mason Murphy kind of, get their feet wet quickly because they're coming in high profile from the portal, the top 2 tackles from the portal, and you still got 2 tall as well. But how have you guys ingratiated them into your group?
I think this is very similar to the last question. You just got to surround yourself with each other. I think the tighter your offensive line off the field is, the better you'll communicate and gel on the field, and that's what we've done.
What's been the conversation about this new year? I mean, just not among with the coaches or anything like that, but among the players. What do you guys want to accomplish? What do you guys want out of 2025?
Yeah, I think it's no secret in the locker room. We talk about how talented of a team we have. We know we have the pieces, and now it's just all about going and executing and putting it all together. We just got to stay locked in, and it's a long season ahead, so just stay to the plan.
And then what has Jake Thornton's message been to you guys? I mean, he's done a nice job with this offensive line and developing it. And I know, does he have you guys, especially yourself, you're in the pivot, as we just talked about with to piggyback off the 2 transfers at tackle, do you also kind of counsel them all the time and get them up to speed on the calls? How do you guys make their transition even smoother?
They honestly made it pretty easy on us just coming in. They're veterans, so it's easy for them, and they picked it up immediately almost. So
not reinventing the wheel.
Right, exactly.
What have you worked on the most? I mean, you personally, the center position, well, what have you had to work on the most?
I focused on a lot of refining the smaller details, especially in the run game and the pass game too. But that was the big focus this offseason, just the small things helping get, once I understand what the defense is trying to do, how can I help myself get in better situations?
Is that something you guys have put an emphasis on, that run game, wanting to be maybe a little bit more explosive, opening up some different holes?
I'd say we focused on both, but yeah.
And then we've got to ask too. You guys, you try to insulate yourselves, but you've heard all the talk. As a group, how much are you looking forward to this opener at Baylor? It's a huge one. It'll be Friday night, so it'll be different. You guys will get the country all watching you and trying to kind of send a message that this Auburn team is different. You guys really were very close to having a really good year last year. Didn't finish, but talk about the opener and then the season outlook.
Yeah, like I said, we've got a lot of talent. So what better way than to go play in front of the country? Everybody's going to be watching on that Friday night, and just go compete with the guys. We worked all summer, and we're going to go through a long fall camp. So what better way to start the season? And then, like you said, it's a long season ahead. So we just got to stick to the plan, stay focused, and we'll see what happens at the end.
Yeah, no doubt. And we've got to ask, because when you walk past us, what about the suit, man?
The suit, man.
That's a sharp suit.
Yeah, Blue Thread did a really good job. I typically go for the solid colors, but when I saw it, I was like, I got to wear this to SEC Media Day. It made my choice easy.
Yeah. What's something about this offensive line that people are watching at home that's just kind of unique, different about you guys, that may make them smile, make them laugh, or something that's unusual about this Auburn offensive line?
I think it's easy to look at an O-line and be like, oh, they're serious. They're all
yes.
And don't get me wrong, at the right time, we're going to be serious, and we're going to come and try and punch you in the mouth. But off the field, this is a really funny group, and being off the field, and it makes the hard stuff a lot easier when you can joke around with the guys.
Who's the biggest jokester along the offensive line?
Oh, gosh. I'd say either Jeremiah Wright or Tyler Johnson. Both of them were pretty funny.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you this, too, and to wrap it up, and you being chosen to come here now as a leader of this team means there's a very good chance you can end up being a captain, and that's forever. What would that mean
here's
to
your
you?
head coach with you right there.
Coach Freeze. How you doing?
Absolutely.
I know you didn't pick that.
Blue Thread did a good job.
Hey, Coach, we've been complimenting that one, Coach.
Coach, that's an impressive suit.
Impressive young man.
I like that. The Nikes.
He's already got the Nikes on.
Coach
The
is looking
J's.
fresh.
Yeah, there we go.
No, being a captain, that's probably my number one personal goal this season, just like this, a great honor. And it means a lot when you're selected by your teammates and coaches.
Talk about Coach Freeze. I mean, just he seems very casual just walking in here, but I mean it, I'm sure it's business when it's business.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, awesome person. Been great since I stepped on campus. And like you said, just super fun to talk to about football, and just I can't say enough great things. Yeah.
Well, good luck to you, man. Stay healthy. I think I like this Auburn team and where they are, and I think they're going to take a huge step forward this year. Your leadership and play is going to be a big part of it, but good luck to you, and we appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys. War Eagle.
Thanks. Let's get a break in. It's day 2 of SEC Media Days live from the College Football Hall of Fame. Connor Liu, kind enough to sit down with us for a few minutes. We'll wrap up hour 1 next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. You know it's hot outside, so cool down with an upright or chest freezer in stock at Owen Home Appliance Center. And don't let those beverages get hot. Get an under-counter ice machine with a built-in pump for just $12.99. Or how about a fridge out by the pool or in the garage for extra cold drinks? You can get a scratch and dent 18 cubic foot refrigerator for just $3.49 while supplies last. Go to OwenAppliance.com to learn more. That's OwenAppliance.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions. That's why we've recently added many new vendors like Zebra barcode printers. Our next level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you just one product, and we love helping you find the right solution to your specific needs. That's what doing the right thing is all about, and that's why our customers have come back for over 50 years.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. Today's coverage of SEC Media Days is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's #1 retail mortgage lender.
The Auburn Tigers head coach Hugh Freeze, Keldrick Falk, Jackson Arnold, and Connor Liu making their way around the College Football Hall of Fame this morning. Kirby Smart, the Georgia Bulldogs, not too far behind them. They, too, are making their way around the College Football Hall of Fame this afternoon. The Tennessee Volunteers and the Texas Longhorns, Josh Heupel, Steve Sarkisian, They will be here as well. Arch Manning. We get our first look at Arch Manning doing the press rounds as he will headline the afternoon session as far as players go here for day 2 of SEC Media Days from the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no doubt. And we're looking forward to hearing from, those from, of course, from Steve Sarkisian. And we already talked about that at the start of the show, and Josh Heupel. Tennessee, a lot of holes to fill, some changes at QB. It'll be very, very intriguing for Tennessee, especially with the offseason, with the departure of Nico Iamaleava, to see what their expectations are. So, and again, and then like we said, Hugh Freeze, he's here still on Radio Row. I think Auburn's laying in the weeds. I think they got a chance to be really good. And then we know Georgia's Georgia until proven otherwise. And I know there's some that are wondering if they're going to be able to fill all the holes, but there's no question they're going to be able to do that.
Coach Freeze making his way past us this morning. And see right there. I try to use Kurt Sampson walking past us. I try to use my Iowa Connect. He's a University of Iowa grad. You know what? And it still doesn't work. But Hugh,
tight schedule.
Hugh making his rounds
for the head coaches.
Yeah. Now coming up at the top of the hour, Gary Stokan will join us.
Chick-fil-A kickoff.
Yeah, we're going to know. And they had the college football playoff quarterfinal game last year. They had Texas and Arizona State. They've got a couple games this year. They got not one, they got 2 games again this year there in Atlanta. So he will join us at the top of the hour. And then don't forget, 9:05, make sure you listen to 97.7 ESPN The Zone, because Kirby Smart will come over your airwaves. We also heard from Diego Pavia yesterday. The Vanderbilt quarterback had a little something to say. Here's Diego.
Yeah, I think last year I kind of got banged up at the Kentucky game. And so just maybe, being in the training room more, that's something that I worked on in this offseason, just make sure my body's prepared. Because after that game, my production kind of fell off. And I got to be there for my teammates, and so they'll expect a lot out of me this year. And, we can't wait for this great season.
Certainly Alabama's going to have that one circled after what happened in Nashville, and Diego was awesome. That Vanderbilt team was very, very sharp, and hopefully after this year in Tuscaloosa, his nickname will be Flak Jacket.
Clark Lee. And if you missed it, go back and watch it. Go back and listen to it. Clark Lee sat down with the Drive yesterday for about 10 minutes. And he sat down, and he had some things to say. And he was asked quite a bit yesterday. Clark Lee was Vanderbilt head coach as Vanderbilt made the rounds. How do you keep a guy like Diego Pavia, who wants to play like a defensive back? He's not afraid to initiate contact. He takes a lot of hits. How do you keep him healthy? How do you design the offense? How do you limit the hits that Diego Pavia takes during a season?
Only way you can do that is you have to, have the players around him take on a bigger load, and you don't run him as much. You pick and choose those spots, and I think that's what you have to do, because when Diego got banged up, Vanderbilt has to place close to the best anyway. Because of the talent differential, they are a talented football team, but we don't misunderstand something. They don't have the depth of other SEC teams, and Diego is a huge X factor, so you got to stay healthy. And if you don't, it can slow you down. And look, Vanderbilt won a ton of close games. They lost some. They play a distinct style. That's why Jerry Kill and Tim Beck and those guys were hired. And so that's what you have to do. You have to do a really nice job of limiting the contact at times that Diego has to take on, because if he's not on the field or if he's not himself, that offense, isn't the same. And if he does get into a rhythm and they do start controlling the football, it's very difficult. They're very, very difficult to stop because they play keep away. And that's what they did against Alabama. Alabama still scored 35. But they had too many turnovers, and when you turn it over, especially if you allow their defense to score, which Jalen Milroe did in the first quarter because he got off to a very slow start, and Alabama dug a 14-0 hole because they gave up a touchdown on the opening drive. And when you're down 2 scores against a team that plays the way Vanderbilt does, if they don't turn it over, and that's the strength of their offense is protecting the football, it makes it very, very difficult to beat them.
One other coach to hear from that was here yesterday is Shane Beamer, the South Carolina head coach. South Carolina, a lot of expectations coming out of Columbia. And he made a point to say that they're going to bring in a new punter, a new place kicker, a new kick returner. Their whole special teams is pretty much all new. Their interior along the defensive front, new. They return a lot of new guys on offense. Here's Shane Beamer talking about the expectations, though, for this year's team.
People's rosters are completely different every single season, and we'll be picked higher this week than what we were last year when y'all did the picks in Dallas, just because we won 9 games and we bring back our quarterback. But also understanding that none of that matters, because every year is a new year. There's a lot of new faces all across the SEC, and for us, it's just continue to work and just let's continue to try and get better and take this thing farther in 25.
That's Shane Beamer yesterday. Just a small part of what he had to say.
I'll just make a prediction. If they go 9-3 again, which I don't think they will,
right?
Then he'll be coach of the year.
You think they take a step back from 9 wins?
Yes, because the back end of the schedule is brutal. They have a different offensive coordinator. Dowell Loggins is now at Appalachian State. Mike Shula is now the OC. It was just a bowl game. A lot of guys opt out, but the bowl game wasn't pretty. We'll see if that was that foreshadowing or is it that was just a mirage. And then again, Sellers, they're not going to sneak up on anybody. Everybody knows how good that kid is, and they're gonna game plan. And to me, it may be kind of like Jalen Milroe. Milroe still had a good year last year for Alabama,
right?
But it was not great. His year before was better, and he turned the ball over more. So Sellers actually turned the ball over early last year, but then kind of got it going. And he was cooking the last half of the season. So now that he's not going to sneak up on people, I'm anxious to see how that goes. And then the biggest thing, and this is another, they played good complementary football last year. Their defense was outstanding. Is it going to be as good this year? I don't think so, because they lost 8 starters and then they lost 3 of their 4 defensive linemen. And that group was a bunch of
mutton heads.
I can't say it on this radio station. If we were on XM, I could. But they were some mother, they were some mules.
You don't want to say it, but you can't.
Yeah. They were mules, man. They were tough. They were NFL players, and they had the ability to rush the passer, and they had 2 really good interior defensive linemen that did a good job against the run. Were also underrated rushers. So South Carolina had a really good football team last year. I'll be honest with you. I thought, look, by the end of the season, and that's what's so crazy. I think if you had me rank the teams, how good they were of the 3 that missed the playoff, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama, because I didn't think Alabama was playing really good football by the end of the year. Because
you thought South Carolina was playing better than Alabama at the end.
Yep, sure was, because it's all about the quarterback. And, Sellers was out playing Milroe and was playing really good and beat Clemson in that classic game. And then we all know that Jackson Dart, I never liked him in the clutch.
Right.
But Ole Miss was a really good football team. And the only reason I rank Ole Miss ahead is because I just think Ole Miss was the more talented team than South Carolina. But they were 2 really good football teams. And I think they both should have been in the playoff instead of SMU and Indiana. Absolute idiocy.
From the Who and Big Ten.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, because
SMU
the Who was Arizona State.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I think, look,
SMU came from the Bush Leagues, known as the ACC.
Being in Texas, my first thought is them being in the Big 12 because they're in Texas. That is my first thought. But got to get used to the fact that Cal
UCLA
and SMU
is in the Big 10, for God's sake, and so is Oregon and Washington.
I got to get that in my head.
And USC.
Geographically, conferences don't make any sense anymore.
No, they don't. They don't make any sense. Texas State's in the Pac-12.
The what?
There you go. That's what they'll probably be from now. In the what?
The what?
The what? The what and the who. We have the who and the what. There you go, Scott. You just added to my Druinary. The what is the Pac-12.
Yes.
The who is this Big 12. And the ACC is the Bush Leagues.
They have their media days coming up this next week. Clemson,
yeah, and everything's free. Are you shocked?
No. just so that people know here, and I mean, just so that people know here, if you want a 10 by 10 spot, it's $1,000 for us to be here for a week. But we got to get our hour break in, because when we come back, Gary Stokan going to join us. Coming up next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
It's training camp week at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Download the VSiN NFL Betting Guide at VSIN.com. Buccaneers favored to win the NFC South Division title. The Falcons a second choice at plus 250 with an over-under win total prediction of over 7.5 wins. Carolina Panthers prediction under 6.5 wins. The Saints under 5.5 wins. Steve McAdoo says they could be headed for the worst record of the NFL. Paulie Howard of Follow the Money has bet the Saints to have the worst record of the NFL. It's one of his best bets at 5-1. Another of McAdoo's best bets under 6.5 wins at minus 190. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Today's coverage of SEC Media Days is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's #1 retail mortgage lender. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is indeed hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you live from day 2 of the SEC Media Days, College Football Hall of Fame, our location. And it won't be long. The countdown is on till Saturday, August 30th. The new season gets underway, and it'll get underway not once but twice here in Atlanta as the Aflac kickoff game. You don't get one, Drew. You get 2 this year.
Yeah, and the executive director of the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic games, and of course the Peach Roll, is Gary Stokan, and we always enjoy catching up with him each and every year and kind of peeling back the onion and seeing how all this comes together. One of the matchups on August 31st is very intriguing because Shane Beamer playing his dad's old school and that's Virginia Tech and South Carolina. South Carolina's got a lot of expectations.
We just
but these
heard from
matchups
Shane
are always
Beamer,
very,
yes.
very, very intriguing. And Gary, we appreciate it. You join us now here on Digital Drive here in this backyard for you in Atlanta, Georgia. But how are you doing this morning?
Well, Scott and Drew, thanks for having me again. It's always great to see you guys, and particularly to see you here in Atlanta. Where we get a home game rather than to drive over to Hoover. But you got a nice setup here. This is a great
new backdrop.
It's
nice backdrop.
To be in the College Football Hall of Fame, to do a show about college football, about the season getting underway inside the College Football Hall of Fame is kind of unique.
Well, this has always been my dream. I visited the College Football Hall of Fame in South Bend in 2002.
Yeah.
Wow.
Walked through with Mel Moore, who was then AD at Alabama.
Former OC at Notre Dame.
And played at Alabama for Bear and coached for Bear and then assistant at Notre Dame. And we walked through, and it was very antiquated, very old, and they were doing about 60,000 people a year.
Wow.
And Mel said, there's nothing with Bear Bryant in this Hall of Fame. And I said, you're right. How can that be? I said, we moved this to Atlanta. This would be gangbusters. And so I started then, and in 2005, NASCAR came out. Someone in Atlanta said, well, we need to have a NASCAR Hall of Fame. Went to NASCAR, and NASCAR said, great idea. They bid it out to Richmond, Charlotte, Daytona, and Atlanta. Charlotte wound up winning. I had to pull the Hall of Fame back because I didn't want the two to conflict and one to use one against the other.
Right.
So after that announcement was made in 2005, I came out in 2006 and said, we're going after the Hall of Fame. And in 2010, I started the Atlanta Hall Management Company. I signed as CEO and president a 30-year license to move the College Football Hall of Fame here. And this was a parking lot. And Governor Perdue, it's state property, Governor Perdue, who played quarterback at Georgia as a freshman, was very influential in helping me. He put $20 million to build that parking deck next to this in 2008, which was the worst financial crisis this country's been in since I've been living.
Right.
And he built it in there, and we leased the site here. And so I could tell you about every nook and cranny in this place, being involved in the design, the architecture. I termed the phrase edutainmuseum, which isn't a word, but I told our architects and designers, we need to make this educational, entertaining, and then a museum. Because if you make it a museum, that's not what young kids want. They want interactive, they want to. So, you get two experiences. One is your own school, whatever you are, you get that experience, and then you get an immersive experience of college football. So, I love this place. And so anyway, to have things like this here was always the dream, to have the induction ceremonies and all that. So, this has been a special place.
And now ESPN does their college awards at the end of the season.
We've had the award show here.
Yeah.
We have our Hall of Fame in here the night before the bowl game, where all the Hall of Famers are here, all the Dodd Coach winners. So it's a special place.
Well, and you got two special matchups. Let's first talk about Tennessee. You said a lot of orange in here in Syracuse. I was reminiscing with you before we started about Paul Pasqualoni, Donovan McNabb, Marvin Harrison, so many great players. Fran Brown making some waves in recruiting. They had a really good offensive football team last year too. He's gotten some 5-stars already in this cycle to start. And now they're playing Tennessee, kind of an under-the-radar game. But talk about getting Fran Brown here and playing the Vols.
Well, Fran, being at Georgia, had such good success over there coaching. And, John Wildhack was at ESPN for a lot of years. Now they're AD. And I talked to John, and he said, Gary, we need to get down to Atlanta and play down there, And so we were able to work it out. And Danny White, Tennessee, he was AD at UCF when they won a national championship against Auburn. In 2017 or whatever it was, 19. So just talking to a lot of ADs and a lot of coaches about who you'll play and when, and John Wildhack agreed, and so we were able to put this together. I told Steve Shaw of the NCAA in charge of referees that we're going to have both teams wear their orange. Because everybody says, well, there's a Texas orange, there's a Tennessee orange, there's a Syracuse orange.
Right.
And he thought I was serious. He went on and on. No, Gary, you can't do that. Our referees won't be able to. And I said, no. We'll put Syracuse in navy, or we'll put Syracuse in white, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I like to have both teams in colors for
Right.
a kickoff game because
Right.
it really looks cool on the field and on TV.
So
we had a lot
will
of fun.
they both be in? Will they both be in
No,
colors?
we'll
or
have
they're
one in
gonna-
white, one in orange.
Oh, man.
Well, no doubt.
But we're looking forward to that game. That both teams finished
Yeah.
top 20 last year.
That's right.
There's
Under the radar
quarterback
for Syracuse.
changes as there is, with transfer portal on every team, I think, this year almost. But, both teams will be very good coming in here. We'll have a sellout. And then the next game, the Virginia Tech, the Beamer Bowl,
South Carolina.
will be South Carolina, Virginia Tech. And, South Carolina's, by a lot of estimates, ranked top 15. Lenoris is obviously going to be up for the Heisman. And, Virginia Tech's going to come in here, 2 quarterbacks. Pop Watson, who's a really athletic young quarterback. And Drones, I think, is in his 8th year at Virginia Tech. Really strong kid, can run really well. So, as you guys know, if you don't have a good quarterback in college football, you're in trouble. And both teams have good quarterbacks. We'll see what, Fran does up there at Syracuse. They got Angeli from Notre Dame and Collins from LSU.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how this will be their first starts, in a big stage for those guys. So we'll see how they do. And, so, we got 2 great kickoff games, Aflac kickoff games, and then we'll finish the season with almost within a year having hosted in Atlanta every CFP major game.
Mm-hmm.
We hosted the quarterfinal last year with Texas and Arizona State, and that thriller. We hosted the national championship, and then we'll host the semifinal game. So I have a quarter, a national championship, and a semi all within 1 calendar year is pretty cool in Atlanta.
And we'll see if who's the Arizona State of this year, because Coach Dillingham's group was not picked to do well at all in the Big 12, and they nearly won that game. So Coach Dillingham got a huge raise. He's one of the top young coaches in the game now, Gary.
Well, and you talk about quarterbacks. Levitt's
Sam Levitt.
I was down in Dallas last week for their media days, and he's picked to be the quarterback of the year and player of the year in the Big 12 this year. And they get Tyson back, the wide receiver, who didn't play in our game, who's an All-American wide receiver. So Arizona State will be good again.
That was 2 fan bases, though. That game, that Texas-Arizona State game, you knew Arizona State was good. I didn't know how well they would show up here in Atlanta. I mean, you're coming from Arizona. It's a heck of a journey. But, man, they showed up in a big way.
Yeah. Well, as Kenny said, they want to activate the Valley. They activated the Valley in a big way. And I made a big deal out of it because in 1968, Arizona State was ranked 8th in the country. And Frank Kush was their coach.
Yep.
And we were the 9th oldest bowl game. They couldn't get into one of the big bowl games and because of the ties that the Bulls had. And so George Crumbly, who was CEO at the time, reached out and got Arizona State to come here. And, they won the game and they had a good time. And out of it, the weather was so bad. In the first quarter, it rained. In the second quarter, it sleeted. In the third quarter, it snowed. In the fourth quarter, it iced. And the Arizona people are sitting in the stands at old Bobby Dodd over there. And they said, hey, it's 80 degrees in Phoenix today. Why don't we start one of these things? And they start meeting with the Peach Bowl people. And out of it, the Fiesta Bowl was created.
Really?
Yeah.
That's because they played up here in the sleet and the snow.
Yeah, and they said we got such great weather. Why don't we do one of these bowl games? And that plus with Arizona State being so good and not being able to get into bowl games, they said, well, if we start a bowl game, we'll be able to get Arizona State to come into our game. So it had been such a long time since they had been here that they came back, and for the lack of a targeting call, they could have beaten Texas and been in the semi.
Well, and then they're on the West Coast, and I'll just say this: I'd only seen just snippets of them. That was the first extended look I got, and I was just floored by Scatterboo.
Yeah,
I mean, I was like, that's Jerome Bettis again, like the next one.
I had a lot of fun because he had a problem on the sideline during the game. And we're in the press conference, and I was late coming into the press conference, and he's answering the question. Yeah, I had a problem. I did this, blah, blah, blah. And, one of the few times in my 27 years that the losing team offensive player won our MVP.
Right. Wow.
And so I walked into the press conference while he was talking, and I got behind him. And I said, well, here, you won this trophy because you puked on the sidelines. First time ever we've had anybody puke on the sidelines to win our MVP. So, he had a hell of a game. Threw for a touchdown, ran for, I think, a 2-pointer, ran for a touchdown. So,
well, you have the 2 kickoff games coming up again, but this is all for a great cause, though, too. I know people get caught up in the games and the X's and the O's and all the fans and the pageantry, but talk about kickoff for a cause.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. We, as I talked in 1968, we were founded.
Yeah. We
were founded as the 9th oldest bowl game, but the first bowl game founded for charity. And so we've maintained that as our mission, and we've given $68.5 million back to charity since 2002. And so we're the most charitable bowl organization in the country out of all 42 bowl games. It's very important to us. And so during our kickoff games, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And AFLAC has given $147 million to create the AFLAC Cancer and Blood Disorder Center at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. We've given $23 million to create trials and clinics to hopefully find cures to eradicate, whether it's neuroblastoma or leukemia, et cetera. So it's a good partnership, and we use these 2 games to raise money to further that cause. And so last year, I think we raised $420,000.
Wow.
This year, hopefully we'll raise $500,000 and continue to find trials and cures that hopefully one day we can give a kid another month, another year, or maybe another lifetime to live.
Well, we're looking forward to the 2 games. It's become such a fabric of the season. You guys with the kids.
Thank you.
I mean, they're big time matchups. A lot of times up and comer versus a program that's established themselves. Is that the formula you use, and how difficult is it to kind of to line the matchups up?
Good question. Yeah, it's interesting story. In 2006, the BCS went to bring in another bowl game. And us in the Cotton Bowl really made strong bids.
Yeah.
But the Sugar, Rose, Orange, and Fiesta talked the commissioners into letting them double host. So they would host their game in January 1st and then rotationally host the national championship game. So the next year, the NCAA presidents had committed to a 12th game being added to the schedules. So I went to my board because I'm competitive, and I said, if they're not going to let us in the BCS in the backside of the season, we're going to start the BCS on the front side of the season with his 12th game. And so I went and got Clemson, who was going to have Spiller and be ranked top 10. And I talked to Nick Saban, who was in second year at Alabama, and brought them over. We sold out the old Georgia Dome.
By the way, I love Mercedes, but I miss the Georgia Dome too a little bit.
I tell you what, last game of the Georgia Dome, our Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl was the last game in there.
Yeah.
Guys, media, and people were coming up to me saying, hey, and I remember during the SEC championship, the other bowl guys said, hey, can we just bring some trucks in and lift this and bring it to our city and just drop it? Because the Georgia Dome had such great sight lines and great history and everything else. But, it's hard to, everything gets upgraded with technology. So Mercedes-Benz is great. Give Arthur Blank all the credit in the world. But, so starting this kickoff game, we had Alabama-Clemson sell it out. And prior to that, as you know, non-conference games were directional schools, not very good games. People didn't come. The viewership wasn't very good. Well, the viewership went through the roof. We had a sellout. Matter of fact, the ESPN, John Skipper, who was running ESPN at the time, stood next to me on the sideline and said, hey, can you do 2 of these in a day? And in 2020, we had 3 games in a week.
Right.
They got canceled because of COVID, but this year we're doing 2 almost within 24 hours. So, it's been a great success. We've gone 18 straight years.
Yep.
Had some great matchups, typically ACC, SEC, because that worked so well for us in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And when we moved into the CFP, we knew we were going to get more national teams. So we took that formula, ACC, SEC, moved it into the kickoff game. And in most cases, other than getting an Oregon or a Washington or, sometimes going outside to get nationally ranked teams, we've stayed ACC, SEC, which has been very successful.
Working on 26 already?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 26, 27. We want to keep our streak going. No one else has been able to do it. And my staff does such a great job.
Right.
They're excellent. They're the best staff in the business, and they're up for doing 2 games in a row. So,
I love the stories about the Hall of Fame, too.
Yeah, I love
is,
all the stories. Gary's got so many. He's been in this
starting
so
this
long.
Hall of Fame here, that I did not realize.
And to bring up Malmore, who has ties to Notre Dame and Alabama especially.
All they got started.
That's great. That's awesome.
I got more stories over 47 years being in sports. I could sit here all day.
Well, we're going to save some for next year, too.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Gary, we appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes,
Welcome
absolutely.
to Atlanta.
Absolutely. We're loving it here in Atlanta this year for this digital drive. And, of course, on August 30th, it'll be Tennessee, Syracuse. August 31st, the Beamer Bowl, South Carolina and Virginia Tech. Appreciate it, Gary. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a great season.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Gary Stokin, kind enough to sit with us for a few minutes. Let's get a break in. Talking ball rolling on from the College Football Hall of Fame. Day 2 of SEC Media Days coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we know what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512. If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
There's a lot of talk these days about who's the biggest. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. Bigger doesn't equal better.
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. We know we're not the biggest. We don't want to be.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're big enough to handle your case and get you the help you need,
but small enough to welcome you, where you're never just a number. You're part of our family.
The Lackey Law Firm, 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Today's coverage of SEC Media Days is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's #1 retail mortgage lender.
There we are. Welcome back indeed. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back into the program here on a Tuesday morning. It is day 2 of SEC Media Days. We have been live from the College Football Hall of Fame here in downtown Atlanta. Big thank you to Cross Country Mortgage and our good friend John Kendall, the John Kendall team. Cross Country Mortgage helping us with our day 2 coverage. You can give them a call, 256-562-3780, or you can find him at john.kendall@ccm.com. So big thanks to Gary Stoken, who
that was a great conversation.
Kind enough to sit with us for almost 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Having Chick-fil-A withdrawals, but that sounded like
Chick-fil-A in your draws. Sounds like you said you had Chick-fil-A
Not
in
my
your
draws.
draws.
I said withdrawals. Good God.
Well, there is a Chick-fil-A right down at the bottom here.
I know.
So, yes. But it's been good. And again, in case you are wondering today, if you are just now able to join us here in hour number 2, Kirby Smart, Georgia Bulldogs. You'll be able to hear Kirby at 9:05 this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, Hugh
right
Freeze.
after our show.
Yeah. So literally right after this one, just stay around. And then at 11:15, Hugh Freeze will meet the media. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We'll have that all for you. Josh Heupel at 12:30, the Tennessee Volunteer head coach. And then Steve Sarkisian at 2:15 will make his way there. So it's kind of impressive that you have both teams that appeared in the SEC championship team a year ago, Texas and Georgia, here on the same day. And I would imagine, unlike the Who, we are still allowed to vote for
The Who is the
preseason.
Big 12. The what is the Pac-12.
Yes, we're allowed to vote for a preseason media poll.
The Bush Leagues is the ACC.
I would imagine Georgia and Texas, after it's all tabulated, and if you don't forget to send yours in this year, Georgia and Texas will be picked to win the SEC once again this year, and they're both here on day 2.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think I've said this throughout the show, just because I think probably when the votes are tabulated, Texas and Georgia will be the 2 favorites.
Yes.
My 2 favorites are Texas and Alabama, but Georgia gets Alabama at home, and that's something that Kirby has never had. The last time Alabama played Georgia in Athens was 2015 in the rain. We all know what happened, Derrick Henry and the Crimson Tide. It was kind of the breakout game both for Jake Coker and Calvin Ridley as well. We know how good, Minka Fitzpatrick was. He was a freshman that year, blocking a punt, touchdown. Alabama just destroyed Georgia. And it was Mark Richt's last year after a really good run in about 15 years as the head dog. And then the next year, Kirby took over. It's well documented he's 1-6 against Alabama, but here we go. I mean, they get their shot to have Tuscaloosa in Sanford Stadium, and I'm sure they're looking forward to that. And this schedule for Georgia is very beneficial because Ole Miss comes to Georgia, Alabama, Texas. So they're gonna. It's a very difficult schedule, but all the big games are at home for the Bulldogs, and they've got holes to fill. But they've recruited since Kirby got there at a very, very elite level because he learned from the best to ever do it, Nick Saban. And I'll just give my opinion on the show. I do not think Nick Saban's returning to coaching.
I wasn't even going to give it a grain of thought because, it
was a big topic here yesterday.
It was.
So I don't buy it. I buy him continuing to expand his palette and do a great job on television. I think he's enjoying that. I think he's enjoying the transition. But definitely, I think overall this, and it's going to be interesting how this Georgia-Alabama rivalry transitions now that it's not Saban and Kirby. But there's still going to be 2 of the elite programs in college football and within the conference.
And I asked you guys this in the car the other day. I asked you in the car this yesterday, you and Steve Moulton.
Mm-hmm.
How should we look at this Alabama-Georgia series? Is Alabama and Georgia a rivalry? Is it a rivalry? You just used the word rivalry for it.
Well,
rivalry?
there's a lot of electricity. Alabama has controlled it historically. But certainly, Georgia beat Alabama in 2021 for Kirby's first national championship. And then they beat Wofford the next year.
Right.
And, and were able to win another one. And so, I mean, certainly, Georgia, Kirby is, to me, the most successful Nick Saban disciple. He's won 2 championships. So many of them just couldn't replicate what he's done, but Kirby's been able to. He got an indoor practice facility built at Georgia, something Mark Richt couldn't even do. And Richt, look, I know he didn't win a national championship, but he won a couple SECs. They were very, very competitive. They pulled out a ton of pro guys. But Kirby, if you want to say for lack of a better term, he kind of finally moved that program forward, got it out of the mediocrity, because basically it had been mediocre after Herschel and when they had the 3 or 4 year run under him. And Mark Richt had some, he had a couple SEC titles, but I think in 02 and 05, but they just never could, get over the hump, so to speak. Couldn't win a national championship. And that's what made 2012 for them so painful, because you remember that was Alabama, Georgia in the SEC championship game. If Georgia wins that game, I am supremely confident they whack Notre Dame. And then Mark Richt probably still had the job. Kirby probably would have been the next coach at South Carolina. But it's funny how fate intertwines all that stuff.
It does.
And Georgia wanted their prodigal son to come back. He was a great safety there and a great player and had done a hell of a job at Alabama for nearly a decade. Remember, he was very loyal to Nick Saban because he stayed there a long time. He joined the staff in 07 and then became DC in 08 and then was there through 15. Right. And look, he was a very high profile assistant, and he waited his turn, and it certainly has worked out and really been spades for him.
Since we are on the Georgia Bulldogs, I've just been kind of looking at their 2025 offense, and we mentioned a minute ago that we expect them to probably be pick number 2. I would imagine Texas pick number 1. I imagine majority of the people here will vote Texas number 1 to be number 1 in the SEC, followed by Georgia at number 2. Maybe Georgia 1, Texas 2, but I think it's Texas and then Georgia. But I started looking at this Georgia offense, and in 3 positions, quarterback, running back, and wide receiver spot. Gunnar Stockton, last time we saw him, he was playing Notre Dame in the football quarterfinals. After Carson Beck got hurt, and it didn't quite go so well in that game for him. He got thrown into the fire, and it just never got going. You look at the running back spot, they have Nate Frazier coming back, all SEC freshman selection. Mm-hmm. But Georgia lost their 2 top wide receivers to the NFL draft. Their best wide receiver comes in with only like 43 catches. Dylan Bell has 43 catches, 466 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now they have Vanderbilt transfer London Humphreys, who's come over. But we talk about question marks, and we've talked about question marks with Auburn. We've talked about question marks with Texas. Georgia has question marks along that offense in key spots that we just don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we certainly expect them to reload. But, we'll see. Certainly that running game is going to be key, because that was the reason they really didn't reach the promised land a year ago. Of course, the injury to Carson Beck didn't help.
Right.
But ATN never was really healthy. They could not get their running game going the way they wanted to. They couldn't run the football when they had to. That was an issue. And so we'll see what happens, with this year's edition of Georgia. They need to be a little bit better up front, too. And then both offensively and defensively, because that wasn't a dominant front that Kirby's used to. So it's going to be. I'm going to be intrigued to see how this Georgia defense looks.
Yes.
And they struggled a little bit in the back end too, giving up big plays. And one thing that I think Alabama is going to be able to do is throw the football vertically down the field with some very dangerous wide receivers. And if there's one thing that you could still say is kind of the kryptonite for Kirby Smart, it's always been teams that could throw the ball vertically down the field and throw it. And it kind of was at Alabama as well when he was defensive coordinator. So, with Alabama's weapons, with Ty Simpson, should he become the QB, I think he can. With Isaiah Horton, the transfer, who they seem to have really good chemistry already. And they have Ryan Williams, who we didn't see in the spring, back for his sophomore year. And Jeremy Bernard, who's kind of a junkyard dog. They've got some pieces that I think can give Georgia some issues. Also, Josh Cuevas, the tight end. So I think no question that Alabama could test Georgia in some ways, and we'll know a lot more about them after they both get started. I'm glad in a way it's going to be that huge test at the end of September. That's what we're going to see.
It is. And
see how good both of them are.
That's what is interesting to me about that is the fact that, all right, 8:32. And speaking of Georgia, let's get a break in.
The preeminent voice.
Yep. We've talked a lot about Georgia leading into it. Brooks Austin will join us coming up next to talk more Georgia Bulldog football.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Travel accommodations for 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, provided by University Kia. Your Fox 54 weather, brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Temperatures only drop into the mid-70s as we head into the overnight. Mostly to partly sunny sky for your Wednesday. Once again, temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s. Heat indices climbing into the upper 90s, lower triple digits. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast. Much the same as we head into your Thursday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, temperatures in the 90s.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Have you seen the beautiful new Nexus apartment community right next to UAH? Nexus is designed exclusively for students. You'll love having private bedrooms and bathrooms, a fully furnished kitchen, and incredible amenities like 2 courtyards, a refreshing pool with grilling stations, and TV, gaming, and study lounges, all within an easy walk to campus and your classes. If you want the full collegiate experience, come take a personal tour at Nexus today. Log on nexusonhomes.com to see more, including limited time rate specials.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Best of all, now Thompson Tractor is making that investment even better with our Workhorse Special. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the purchase of a new Cat 255 compact track loader that comes with a 3-year warranty. You also get a 74-inch bucket and 1,000-hour filter kit. But hurry, this offer is only good through June 30th. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor. We're here for you.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal. And we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Today's coverage of SEC Media Days is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's #1 retail mortgage lender.
I've never even heard of John Henry.
Oh, wow.
Don't say that with Brandon listening.
8:37 on a Tuesday morning, day 2 of SEC Media Days, rolling along here inside the College Football Hall of Fame. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, bringing you back. Before the break, we were talking about the Georgia Bulldogs. We were talking about Gunnar Stockton. We were talking about the offense. We were talking about the wide receiver position. They got to, production they got to replace. They did something through the portal. The running back spot, can they be productive? Can they hit that 1,000-yard mark this year?
And being elite defensively.
Yeah.
And who better to talk with? Dogs Daily's Brooks Austin.
Boom.
He's, of course, Natalie clad. He's always here asking great questions. That he's right beside us this year at the College Football Hall of Fame.
He's a neighbor.
Yeah.
That's what we're calling it. They're neighbors.
Yeah. And he's the film guy. He breaks it down so well for us, joins us during college football season so much, and now he's live with us with some FaceTime at Digital Drive here in Atlanta, Georgia for SEC Football and Media Days. What's up, brother?
I'm doing good. First of all, who is Natalie? And why is she so clad?
I don't know. I just heard that years ago, man. I don't know.
I
I want to say Chris Berman years ago did Natalie clad Bill Belichick as kind of an inside joke, and it's always just kind of stuck. But I mean,
we have Drewinary terms on the show.
Yeah.
I'd not heard
I make up words all the time.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
we make up words for conferences.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so for you, what is the biggest keys for Georgia? Because I know it's Gunnar Stockton, and we're going to get your opinion on him. But I just thought the biggest thing that kept Georgia out of the national championship game, one, of course, Beck's injury, but they couldn't run the football last year.
When I watched them on film over and over again, it's just, and this sounds cliche and it sounds like a cop-out, but just consistent lack of execution, like just not Georgia standard type of plays. For example, they had 2 or 3, 4 or 5 multi-year starters last year, okay? And they had 2 critical penalties in that Notre Dame game to end their season. One was on a 4th and 2. Dylan Fairchild false starts, turns into a 4th and 7. They don't pick it up. On the other side of the football, it's a 4th and 2. I think it's Jalen Walker or Smile Mondon, either one, jumps off sides. In 2 critical 4th downs, they lose the game by what? A possession? And, oh, by the way, they give up a special teams touchdown. And, oh, by the way, they give up a sack in their own end, fumble, turnover. Like, it's just so many different, like, that's not Georgia standard football. Like, we know what it looks like when you cover Georgia over the last 7 or 8 years. Like, those 2021 and 22 teams were really, really talented. There's no doubt about that. But those guys didn't do stuff like that. They didn't make mistakes like that. They constantly made the right play, not just the big play over and over again. So what does Georgia got to do, man? Georgia's got to get back to executing like they always do. And I know that, again, that sounds very cliche, but they recruit like everybody else in their conference recruits. They recruit at the top 3 level, like now Texas does, like now Alabama does, right? Like Ohio State does. Like, you're going to run into these teams later on in the year. It's almost a guarantee, and you're going to have to out-execute them, and they just didn't do that at a high enough rate last year.
What did you think of Gunnar Stockton's performance in the bowl game? A tough spot for him to be in.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a lot of those mistakes that were made. Some of those were not his. Some of those were other departments or other, units.
Yeah, can't do much about the left tackle getting beat clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how did we take away his performance?
I thought they accentuated his skill set really, really well. Okay. I don't think Gunnar is going to be a layerer of the football. I don't think anyone's ever going to use the word finesse or touch when they speak about Gunnar Stockton at all. This is a full-fledged, like, foot in the gas type of football player at all times. I compared it this way. Have you ever played baseball with a guy who just can't throw strikes unless he throws it as hard as he can? That's the type of quarterback Gunnar is, and you saw it in that Notre Dame game. I think he was like 22 for 30 or something like that. Yeah. But every ball was in the right spot, and it was thrown firm. Really, really firm. And that's a tough football team to play against in Notre Dame. Not only did they have a great defense last year, but they played a ton of man-to-man coverage against a football team in Georgia last year who didn't have a man-to-man winner, if we're being completely honest. Like, they just didn't. Yeah. If you go back and watch that Notre Dame game last year, 3rd and 4, they have to throw the football. We got to have one of you guys to win. They're going to Dylan Bell. Dylan Bell will be like the third or fourth, maybe fifth guy this year on their roster that fits that category, right? They'll probably go to Colby Young first. Then they might go to Zachariah Branch. Then they might come back to Noah Thomas. You see what I'm saying? Then they're going to Dylan Bell. So it's just a total different weaponry that they have this year for them as well.
Well, but I love Dylan Bell, though. I think he's if he ends up being your third or fourth, that's a good third or fourth to have because he's a physical guy, can do a lot of different things. I think he's a poor man's Hines Ward a little bit with his toughness. Now, he's not explosive, but I really like him a lot. But they spend a lot of money on Branch because they want to get more explosive, as you said, blow the top off of stuff. Talk about kind of them trying to transform that wide receiver room.
Yeah, I mean, they did it in a multitude of ways. You get a guy like Noah Thomas who, last year I think solidified himself as a true X option in the SEC. And they needed that. They needed a big-bodied wide receiver, not only Colby Young, but another guy that has already proven in this conference he can win in one-on-one situations. I expect them to use Zachariah Branch in a now screen type of way. Let's get him the ball now. Let's let him run after the catch. And then, occasionally let's design some explosive plays for him down the field. But I think they brought Zachariah Branch onto their roster, no different than the NFL team that ultimately drafts Zachariah will be bringing him onto the team to do things with the ball in his hands. How quickly can we get it to him, and how often can we get it to him?
We talked a lot about the offense. That's the wide receiver, the running back spot. It's hard to believe. And what someone told me, they've not had a 1,000-yard rusher in
since 2019.
Yeah, it's Swift, right?
Yeah,
I loved. They were, but again,
is Nate Frazier the guy to get him on the top?
They've kind of been running back by committee. Now they were, even during the Swift and Holyfield years. I mean, I think there was a year there where both of them went for a rack at the University of Georgia. So they just haven't ran the ball like the standard that they are normally. Now, I already alluded to it a little bit. I do expect the run game to open up. I'm not going to say considerably, but much more now that Gunner is in there, and backside defensive ends and backside linebackers can't just sprint to the ball and sprint to the point of the attack. So much more cutback lanes. Like, it's not just Georgia's yards per carry. They had no explosive runs last year.
True.
They had 2 runs over 40 yards. It was in their first game of the year and in their last regular season game of the year. Like that's not Georgia's standard. Like, you have to be an explosive run team and an explosive team in general to win football games nowadays. And doing it on the ground is the easiest way to do it. I don't got to throw it. I can run it and get an explosive chunk. So I expect them to get back to that. I'm not going to say the full standard of back in the day where they're 2017. They got Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, and 6 NFL offensive linemen. Like, I don't know if those days will ever return, but I don't know if the days will ever return in college football where you're 5 deep with first-round offensive linemen. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Kirby kind of alluded to that.
About
a year ago, didn't
that 2019 team y'all talking about, that right tackle is Isaiah Wilson, first-round draft pick. Turned out to be a SoundCloud rapper. That's on him, but that's first-round draft pick. Right guard Ben Cleveland, still third-round draft pick, still in the league right now, playing for the Baltimore Ravens. Center Trey Hill, still in the league. Left guard Solomon McKinley, the only one not in the league. Left tackle Andrew Thomas, arguably top 5 tackle in the league. Like, they had dudes. Now, I'm not saying they don't anymore, but they just had more of them back in the day, as did Alabama.
It's hard to keep depth in the portal now. They want to play. It's
impossible.
That's it. But then, speaking of it, though, they've kind of become tight end U after what Bowers accomplished. And then Delp and Lucky, I think, are if to say this, they're underrated. Lucky really made some nice plays, especially in that SEC championship game to help out Gunner. But talk about Delp, too. He seems like he's been around for 10 years.
Yeah, Oscar told us during the spring he felt like last year he got his eyes on the wrong thing, took his mind to the wrong thing. I think Oscar going into last year had his mind set on this was going to be my last year. I'm going to go to the NFL. I'm a top 4 round evaluation preseason. I'm going to work my way into a top 2. Well, you can't be thinking about tomorrow while we got to focus on today, all that cliche stuff. And I think this year will be a return to what makes Oscar, who, by the way, this is a guy who Todd Hartley has said is the best fundamental blocker that he's ever coached. Now, really? I know Brock's not known for blocking, but Darnell Washington was known for being a big presence on the line of scrimmage. If Oscar returns to that and becomes that, because I'm going to be honest, I never saw that. Like, for a tight end coach like Todd Hartley to say that you're the best ever at this, I didn't see that. I'm excited to potentially see that this year from him. Lawson's more of the athlete, the special weapon, the real test of what that room can ultimately be. I think it's like 18 months from now when Jaden Riddell's a junior, when Elias Williams is a sophomore, and a name to note for those who aren't covering Georgia for a living like me, Ethan Barbour. Ethan Barbour is going to be a certified pro out of this football program.
Well, how salty will this defense be?
Back to this no-name style of defense. I don't think, especially in this class right now in the upcoming NFL draft class, I don't think they have a certified first rounder.
Wow.
Kristen Miller might be able to work his way into that. But if you go look, I mean, I'm not a preseason draft guru. I don't live and breathe by it. But if you go look at it, the mock drafting world is not paying attention to anybody on Georgia's defense really about now. Now, I just spoke to him about it. I'm interested to see if C.J. Allen can have that year 3 bump that Georgia linebackers tend to have. Like, Roquan Smith was a great player his first 2 years in college. That third year was ridiculous. Nakobe Dean was a really good player for 2 years. That third year was ridiculous. I'm curious to see if CJ can make that classic or Georgia linebacker jump there at Mike linebacker. He's certainly talented enough to do it.
And even KJ Bolden. I mean,
I feel like everybody knows about that one. If you don't,
I mean, he's a sophomore, not draft eligible yet, but he may be the next great one at Georgia in the back end.
I mean, you play as a true freshman at Georgia and do so calmly. Like I felt like I almost at times last year he was too calm, almost too bored. Like, buddy, there's an SEC football game going around. Let's play a little bit more enthusiastic. But it's just him. He's chill. He's a very chill football player. He plays calm and collected.
Well, and in his last couple of minutes with Brooks Austin, Dogs Daily, SI, what is the ceiling for this team? I mean, I told Scott at the start of the show, I think Texas and Georgia will probably be the 2 favorites.
Yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts?
I think it's more of a floor conversation with Georgia this year. I think the floor is 10-2. I think for Georgia and Texas and maybe even Alabama, the ceiling in terms of your roster talent is undefeated. That's what the ceiling should always be set at. But I think the floor at those 3 programs should always be looked at as 10-2. In today's modern age of college football.
Wow.
I don't think anybody's going undefeated. If you go undefeated nowadays, if you go 16-0 and win a national title, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if you edge everybody out by a score. I remember what 2019 LSU felt like. If you go undefeated nowadays, you are the best college football team ever, in my opinion. With what you have to do regular season wise, with what you ultimately have to do week after week after week in the college football playoff rounds nowadays, you're the best team ever if you go undefeated.
Texas and Georgia, those 2, you think?
Yeah, I mean, Lenore Sellers scares the you-know-what out of me.
Right.
If I'm a defensive coordinator, if I'm anybody in this conference, I think that guy could be unique enough to just defy all of the roster inefficiencies that they have, which they do. They and I like their wide receiver core, but they've struggled to protect him year over year. If Rasul Faison doesn't get eligibility, I don't know what they do at running back.
That's a good point because we haven't really talked about his eligibility.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, Utah State transfer trying to replace Rocket Sanders.
I know they're probably listening to us. They got microphones everywhere. I might get shot saying this, but I thought it was hysterical yesterday listening to Greg Sankey start this whole thing off with, you know what I'm sick and tired of? All these 25-year-olds playing in this daggum sport. We need to get rid of these old heads. They're ruining opportunities for high school athletes. Oh, by the way, Diego Pavia, come on up here, buddy. It's like patient zero for all this nonsense for extra eligibility. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, like all these folks are begging for extra years of eligibility off of Diego's precedence. Like,
that's right.
Y'all said his didn't count. Why doesn't mine count? It's insane. We're in a very, very new time in college football.
Well, let everybody know how to follow you, my brother.
Yeah, at Brooks Austin BA on social media and the Film Guy Network on YouTube. Appreciate you guys for having me.
Thank you, Brooks.
Thanks, Brooks Austin, helping us get to break. We're going to wrap it all up when we return. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Never went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal.
The Drive in Atlanta is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate, and Adams. We know great homes. Eagle Masonry and Insulation will save you money. Jacob Title, the place to call for all your closing needs. And by Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we show up.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Today's coverage of SEC Media Days is brought to you by Cross Country Mortgage, America's #1 retail mortgage lender. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your tomorrow's headlines today, as always, brought to you by our very good friends at University Kia, Arthur Seaton, Mike Lucente. They have done it again. They have helped us. They are the official transportation providers for Talking Ball, the Blitz, and the Drive this week as they are carting us around. Again, huge thank you to them. Huge thank you to John Kendall and Cross Country Mortgage for helping us do day 2 here from Atlanta. Again, Kirby Smart, 9:05 this morning. You'll be able to
about
hear
10
him.
minutes.
Yep.
To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right.
To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right. You have had fun here in Atlanta with Beyonce being in town.
I had fun sleeping last night for 7 hours, but I had.
Yes.
Trust me.
You have had fun seeing
thanks
all
to
the
our
people.
cameras. Hello. And
Yes.
thanks to Brandon being such an avid watcher and listener. There was a picture on our account of me doing the surrender code. We're about to fall asleep across the way. So,
but you have had fun.
But I've been up since 4:05 Eastern time, a.m.
You have had fun seeing all the Beyonce fans and all the people walking the streets and everything else.
Yeah.
You've enjoyed people watching here in Atlanta so far.
It's been interesting. Free Willy.
Oh, at least, yes.
I sure as hell not.
Yes, you were not. That reference was not wearing spandex.
I may be down to 268, but that's all I'm down to. So even though I'm eating a lot of M&Ms this morning,
but you could walk the dog.
Well, we walked the dog a couple times a day by. It's been walking by here. Hell, you ran past some today this morning.
I did run past some.
He figured out that athlete's foot's still around.
I did not know the athlete's foot. I mean, yes, I did not know the store. The athlete's foot was still around.
Yeah, there you go.
Until this morning when I saw it. Obviously, it was closed at 5:45 this morning. It was closed, but still. No, Atlanta has been fun so far. For those that don't know, Beyonce was here in town Thursday and Friday. took Saturday off, Sunday and Monday. Her last concert
4
was here
shows in
last
5
night.
days.
Yeah. Our Lyft driver, I should say, Crystal, was rather excited to find out that you were going to Beyonce but didn't go.
Hell no, I wasn't invited. I got to see a great documentary. You gave us the set list anyway in the car.
Yes, but you are going to your first MLS game tomorrow night.
Yeah. I guess.
You guess. It's free.
Yeah. We'll get you a ticket, Brandon.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN Zone. Kirby Smart coming up. 9:05. I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a bag compressor, a leak in a refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490. AL certain number 21014.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. You know it's hot outside, so cool down with an upright or chest freezer in stock at Owen Home Appliance Center. And don't let those beverages get hot. Get an under-counter ice machine with a built-in pump for just $12.99. Or how about a fridge out by the pool or in the garage for extra cold drinks? You can get a scratch and dent 18 cubic foot refrigerator for just $3.49 while supplies last. Go to OwenAppliance.com to learn more. That's Owen Appliance.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
Good morning. I'm Doug Brown. Cal Raleigh of the Mariners is the first catcher and the first switch hitter to win the home run derby. Raleigh beat Rays third baseman Junior Caminero in the finals 18-15. Raleigh almost didn't get out of round one, advancing on a tiebreaker over Brent Rooker. Tonight in Atlanta, it's the All-Star Game, featuring for the first time the Automated Ball Strike Challenge System, or ABS. Coverage of the game starts at 7 Eastern here on ESPN Radio. In the WNBA Monday night, the first-place Lynx beat the Sky 91-78. Nafisa Collier with 29 points. Minnesota now 19-4. Just 3 games back are the Phoenix Mercury, who beat the Valkyries 78-77 on an Alyssa Thomas free throw with 1 second left.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Coming up on Monday, Fleming Roofing and Restoration High School Football Media Day, presented by the Huntsville Sports Commission on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Joe Hunk, John Abraham, 256-576-4977. Welcome to the Blitz.
Hello and welcome into the Blitz. John Abraham, Joe Hunk, 2 hours straight of sports talk here live from SEC Media Days in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame, which I got to admit I've seen everything about 17 times, and I still want to go around and see it another 17 plus times because we got like 2 more days after this one. So day 2, it's been a lot of fun. We got to see Hugh Freeze already stop by the booth, and he's still waiting to get on the podium to talk with the rest of the crowd. But we are going to hear from Kirby Smart here in a moment, and I'm interested to see how he approaches this because I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are underestimating the Georgia Bulldogs, and I get it. Okay, Carson Beck's gone. You're going to have to reestablish the quarterback, and you go from there. But this is, I would say, the 3rd best team coming out of last season. I mean, is that fair to say? They lost to Notre Dame. I mean, and it wasn't even like it was a shutout. It was actually very close, and it's something that I'm very interested to see how he kind of re-ups about this team going into 2025. Gunnar Stockton, of course, going to be that starting quarterback for him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team can rebound going into the new season. On top of that, we're going to be able to hear from Hugh Freeze at 10:15 and 11:15 our time. Everything's a little thrown off. On top of that, Josh Heupel going to be coming at us at I guess I don't know. I'm going to say 12. It would be 11:30. See, I'm still thrown off. Joe, I know you're laughing at me, but come on now.
How is it hard to just subtract by 1?
I'm not good at math, Joe. I'm not good at math. I just want to be.
10:05 is 9:05. 12:15 is 11:15. Josh Heupel is at 1:30. That means 12:30 our time, and Steve Sarkisian is at 3:15, which is 2:15 our time.
Well, then what I'm looking at might be a little bit off. I thought I was going off of the Eastern time. Either way, regardless, you're going to get this here, Steve Sarkisian as well. At the end of the day, all of that will be able to be heard on our station on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and WZZN TV. If you guys do miss out on the live interviews, they will be on there for your demand. So whenever you want, you can go and listen to those. And, of course, as always, this show presented by the wonderful people over at Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com to fill out your free quote today. Joe, we're about to hear from Kirby, but you want to get in any final thoughts before we listen to the man with the 2 national championships under his belt?
I mean, I don't understand how people are underestimating the man in the way that Gunnar Stockton was. I mean, you just won the SEC championship last year, and you're just one of the 4 teams that fell victim to getting the first round bye and playing in a neutral site. So, I mean, I think there's parts of that with him. Obviously, yesterday, the Nick Saban news kind of took over SEC Media Days once people started talking more and more about that and about how he still has this little urge to coach as we're all waiting for Kirby to make his way to the podium right now. And so I think that yesterday there was a lot of interesting things, especially like with Lane Kiffin and some of the things that he mentioned that we're going to expand on here a little bit later on after Kirby is done with as well, because Lane talking about the idea of, the whole salary cap and stuff. But I think it is time for us to go ahead and send it to the main room as Commissioner Greg Sankey is making his way to the podium.
In 2024, Kirby became the 5th fastest coach to reach 100 career wins in bowl subdivision history, needing just 117 games to do it. That That victory putting him in that category was the win in Austin over then number 1 Texas. It's been a busy summer for the Smarts. First of all, Kirby's son Andrew is a busy baseball player. Their twins, Weston and Julie, are heading into their senior year in high school this fall. And join me in congratulating both Kirby and Mary Beth because today is their 19th wedding anniversary, and we send our best wishes to Mary Beth and welcome Kirby Smart, the head coach of the University of Georgia, to the stage.
Thank you, Greg, for that warm welcome. And he was sure to get that preemptive strike about my golf game out early, which he knows what's coming because I got the great fortune of being paired with Greg in the Regions golf tournament. And I did hit a good drive, probably my best drive I've hit in 5 years off the tee box. Closed my eyes and swung hard. But he went on to make 5 pars himself. And I told him, you're not allowed to make 5 pars. And he beat the pro a couple holes. So he was a little worried about what I might say about his golf game. But his golf game is in great shape, evidence of 5 pars. But I appreciate Greg, what he does. He's got a really tough, demanding job, especially in these times. And he leads from the front. And I appreciate people who are willing to lead from the front in difficult times. So thanks, Greg, for that warm welcome. Next first and foremost would be my wife. Absolutely the best teammate anybody could ever ask for. And 19 years we've been together, and this is the 19th anniversary, and here I am celebrating it in Atlanta with you guys. And she's in Mississippi with our youngest son with a baseball tournament. So in coaching profession, you learn a lot of ways to celebrate things in different ways. And she and I have learned to appreciate the time we do have together. She spent a season with me at the Dolphins in the NFL, 9 at Alabama, 9 at Georgia. So there you go. 9 and 9 is 18 plus 1. That's 19. Getting ready to go on our 10th season at UGA. And she's been the best teammate I could ever ask for. 10th season at UGA. I want to say a couple words about somebody that is kind of stepping down from our program, and he's been one of the biggest parts. And people do not give athletic trainers enough credit. But for 30 years, the face of UGA athletic training, and in most cases, the SEC athletic training, has been Dr. Ron Corson. He got his doctorate yesterday in athletic training, and I want to give a shout out to Ron and all he's meant to our program at the University of Georgia and what all he's done. He is a selfless man that is given to multiple head coaches. He's been basically the primary care physician for every coach and their family and every former player at UGA. So thank you for what you do, Dr. Ron, and what you continue to do for our program. Real quick, 3 football players we brought today. I know everybody likes to talk about their guys. I'm going to brag on mine. So C.J. Allen is a rising junior and one of the best leaders we've had in our program at linebacker. He is from Barnesville, Georgia, right down the road, and is a tremendous leader. Quick story about C.J. My son needed to get treatment for the last couple months, and he would come in the office every morning around 6:50, 6:55 to get treatment at 7 so he could make it to school by 8. And there wasn't a morning that we got there that C.J. Allen was not already in the training room doing some kind of rehab, running, getting warmed up, taking care of injuries. He's just a relentless worker and a relentless competitor who got to play in some big games as a freshman, probably even before he was ready. And that's paid off for us last year and this year with CJ. Next would be Gunnar Stockton from the great community of Rabun County. He's with us today. Gunnar is a kid that leads from the front.
Gunner's a winner. He comes from an athletic family background. His dad played at Georgia Southern, and he is the kind of kid you want at the front of the line, and he leads from the front. So I appreciate what Gunner does. He's going to be a big part of our program this year in leadership and doing that with the offensive players. He's already begun to do that in leadership groups that he runs right now. And then the last one is Dalen Everett. Dalen is a senior. Dalen will graduate this next summer. Gunner just graduated this summer, and CJ will graduate. I'm sorry, Dalen will graduate this fall, and CJ Allen will graduate next summer, being a third-year player. But Dalen's from Norfolk, Virginia. Dalen's been a part of our program for 4 years, really a 2-year starter in my mind. He had a big year for us last year. He gives tremendous confidence to a secondary that's going to be young next year. Dalen is a kid that ever since we've met him, no challenge is too big. He loves to practice. He loves to compete. He demands excellence, and he is here representing us today. So I'm proud of Dalen. Our team's going to be comprised of 54% first and second year players. Very big change for us. I thought last year was probably one of the most veteran teams I've been a part of. You guys know the COVID class has kind of aged out. So we had multiple players that were in their 5th and 6th year last year, especially across the offensive and defensive lines. We had a tremendous group that all went out kind of at the same time, aged out at the same time. And so we're going to be really young, especially on the offensive and defensive lines. But 54% of our players are coming into their first or second year. So what do you get with that? You get youthful exuberance. We've had practices that have been spirited. We had a great spring practice that we talked about the words fire, passion, and energy. I think the biggest thing that separates college football teams today is complacency among players versus fire, passion, and energy among players. So we've tried to highlight those traits as much as possible with our players. Our players need to bring juice and energy each and every day. If they don't, they'll be confronted by the players that do. And if the players continue to do that, we'll have a successful season and a successful football team. In a day and age that I think Sankey referenced it yesterday, times are changing. College athletics and college football is not broken. He used the word strained. I would say that it's in a time of change and influx that you have to navigate better than your opponent. You have to navigate better than your competitor, whether that's conference to conference or within your own conference. And we continue to find ways to do that at University of Georgia. We sell relationships over transactions. We think the relationship still wins out, because the relationship allows you to push people and demand excellence. And we're going to continue to do that at Georgia. We don't believe in just being transactional, because when you're transactional, you cannot accomplish whatever your ultimate goal is, whatever your greatest reach is, whatever the ceiling is for every player and every team we have. You don't reach that without relationships. So we're going to try to win 24-hour increments each and every day to make sure we still attain that. A great example of what I think about in college athletics, I wanted to share. Leland in our sports information department has a young lady that just won a national championship with our track team. Kayla is with us today. Kayla Jackson from Detroit, Michigan, came all the way to Athens, Georgia to run track. She won a national championship with our women's track program, and she is kind of interning, kind of mirroring us in SID today. And that wouldn't be possible without college athletics. I don't think enough of those stories are told. And that is important to me. I'm a traditionalist. I believe in the college athletic background and what it does for people, what it did for me, my family, what it did for my wife, being a female athlete at the University of Georgia and playing basketball. That experience paves the way for future success. And I believe in that. So with that, I'm going to open it up in honor of the great Bob Holt. We'll call it the Bob Holt question, because he used to have the first one every time.
Thank you, Coach Smart. If you do have a question, Miles, Ty, or Olivia will get a microphone to you. I appreciate the tribute to our friend Bob. All right, we'll start right here in the middle aisle, Coach, right in front, near about halfway back.
Coach Emily Grace McWhorter from the next round. You've continually been outspoken about walk-ons and their intrinsic value to your program. Your most recent draft class reflected that with Dan Jackson. What is your message to the players that may not have those same opportunities that your previous walk-ons had with the new roster limits?
Well, that's a great first question, because I don't want to jump on a soapbox and tell you how I really, really, really feel. Opportunities are being lost all across college athletics. And unfortunately, that's part of it. I can't really give a message to the next walk-on because I don't know that there's going to be an opportunity for that walk-on. I think find value in what people want. You know, we still really preach fire, passion, and energy. So we want kids who love the game. We found it's not how fast you run the 40 or how talented you are. It's how fast you run the 40th 40 and how passionate you are in the third and fourth quarter when you're tired. And sometimes those guys have more intrinsic value for your team than maybe a guy who is a scholarship player but is disinterested because he's not playing. So a lot of those stories have been lost, but I think you can reward those by going out and finding kids to fit in your 105. And it doesn't matter whether you call them a walk-on or just a scholarship player that may not get as much NIL, that play with fire, passion, and energy. So I'm looking forward to continuing that long kind of history we have of doing that by finding the right kind of players to come play at Georgia who love the university, who want to get a degree from there, and who want to be great football players. But that's a story that's kind of untold, and I think it's really untold in terms of other sports, Olympic sports, let's call them, across college athletics.
Coach, we're going to go straight here in front of me, second row. Kirk, right in the middle.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Kirby beat Texas twice last year. Now you get them at home. Do you have any special secret to beating Sark, and any insights from your days at Alabama together that work well toward that end?
No, I think if you're going to beat a good football team, you've got to be sound football team yourself, you know, and I didn't overlap with Sark that I remember at Alabama, so we weren't there the same time. Tremendous respect for him and his program, the job they do. To beat good teams, you got to be a good team. We had a good football team last year, so did they. It's not about us as coaches. It's really about the players and what you believe in. And, you know, we got a lot of really good football teams to play next year besides just Texas. So we're preparing for all of them.
Coach, we'll go over to our right-hand side about middle of the way back. Just over to our right.
Drew DeArmond, WCCN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. Coach, I know during the offseason you've talked about building depth. You were at Alabama 9 years. You and Coach Saban built a lot of depth in the program. You've done that during the majority of your 10 years at Georgia. How do you view change within your organization to try to maybe, speed up somebody's development when you tend to develop depth with the impact of the transfer portal and NIL?
Yeah, first of all, you don't speed up development. That's a misnomer. So if you want to speed up development, then you're probably looking for shortcuts that don't exist. You want to develop somebody, it takes time, it takes reps. We can't replicate reps faster. We can't speed up a guy's transition. The transition it takes to become a good football player is different for every kid. And I've been fortunate, for the last 19 years of college football to learn that and learn that it takes what it takes, and it takes time to grow those players. Now, I wish I could speed it up. I really wish I could speed it up this year, but there's no remedy or magic potion or we're going to go get this guy out of the portal or that guy out of the portal. It's all about continuity and what you do with each team. You're seeing that across college football where there's beginning to be a little more parity, I think, and it's probably going to continue to go that way. So who does the best with what they have, which is what I enjoy about the game.
Coach, we'll go straight down in front of us. Second row, second row.
Hey, Kirby. Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. Gunner's relief appearance against Texas. How did that benefit the locker room, the way he came in for Carson? And how does that serve as a teaching tool for young players who may not be starting?
Yeah, I don't know that the benefit on the locker room is as great as the other parts you just said. What does it teach a young player that's sitting in the wings that you just don't ever know when your number is going to be called? And the one thing that I really appreciate about Gunner and most quarterbacks is he prepared every game as if he was the starter. And people can say that and say that's coach speak, but he actually did it. He went in, watched extra tape, and he knew that at any point in time, he could be called on to have to go in the game and play. And, he didn't go in a normal environment, where you got a big lead. Maybe you're beating an opponent. He went in against a top defense in the country in one of the biggest games of the season and performed well for a guy that had not gotten a lot of reps with the ones. So I thought he handled that moment well, and he taught a lot of our young players that you got to be prepared and ready.
Which will go over to our left-hand side on the far aisle.
Hey, Coach Dave Shoemate from the SEC Unfiltered channel. You mentioned a little bit on character, football, personal character background and stuff, and everybody talks about the film evaluation side of things. And character, football stuff's always been important, but it used to just be a scholarship, cost of attendance a check. Now we're putting real percentages, money-wise, revenue on these kids' heads. What are the cutting-edge things you guys are doing at Georgia to be ahead of that, be ahead of the curve in the character, personal development, bringing the right kids into your program?
Yeah, I don't know that I would say cutting edge. We're all trying to do it better than anybody else. And, if I share that with you, then I'm sharing it with everybody. So if we're doing anything cutting edge, I'm not sharing it today. I can assure you of that. What I do think is important, or more important that you hit on, is it's less about what the tape looks like. Okay. For instance, if we're going to sign 4 corners or 4 DBs, there's going to be 1,000 DBs that are good enough on the tape. Let's don't talk about the DBs that are above the line. The line is, are they good enough to play winning football at Georgia? There's thousands. Let's just get the ones that care, the ones that are not transactional, that are relationship built. They want relationships. They want to be coached. They want to be pushed. And yeah, they're going to get paid. No coach is going to stand up here and say they don't want players to get paid. We want them to get paid. I am completely comfortable with that. What I want is them want to get paid and that not change how they go about their business. That not change if they're sensitive to being demanded excellence of. And it's so ironic to me that you meet a parent and they're like, Coach, I really want my son to play where he's pushed and demanded of, and he gets coached each and every day the hard way, because I honestly don't think he can make it without that. I mean, we all needed it. I needed it at 17. A 17-year-old needs to be pushed. Doesn't preclude them from gaining monetary value. They can do both those two things. But a lot of coaches aren't willing to do that. People don't want to confront and demand anymore for fear of losing a player. I would rather go get the right player that buys into that, and then I got something special when they do develop and get all those reps.
Coach, we're going to go in the center aisle, 3rd row, right in front.
Yeah, Kirby, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. Your 25 non-conference schedule is what it is, but going forward, it's pretty robust, including 2030. You got Georgia Tech, Clemson, and Ohio State. What's the chances those games hold and that the scheduling philosophy that you guys mapped out continues?
Really no clue what the chances are. That's, it's one of those things that I can only speculate on. I love big out-of-conference games. I love opportunities to play teams on a big stage, to open with big games. Everybody talks about it. I think that's where we're headed. You know what I mean? To have that kind of schedule where you get to play out-of-conference and you play other, the A4s. I love those kind of games because our kids get up for them. I think the bigger decision is how many teams are going to be in the playoff. How do we go about selecting those playoffs? You're going to motivate more teams to play schedules like that with a fix in the way we go about selecting the teams.
Okay, we're going to go over to our right-hand side about midway back.
Hey, Coach. Hamilton Culpepper with Bulldog Illustrated and the Hammy Show. You keep talking about how fire, passion, and energy are huge pillars of the Georgia football program, actual added pillars to the foundation. Can you name a few players, specific players that have exhibited it thus far, and why add it in this particular offseason?
Well, it's hard for me to pick 1 or 2 players. I actually want them to compete to separate themselves as guys that have fire, passion, and energy. We've picked a few. I don't really choose to share them publicly today because that could change as soon as tomorrow. Who's working out the hardest, who's leading, and who's pushing. But why is it important to identify it now? Because the culture in college football is slowly changing. You got to remember, I was part of a 9-year program and a 9-year run that was one of the greatest ever in college football. Okay. And now I'm at a place that's doing it right and competing in a really high level. I've seen what it looks like to have fire, passion, and energy, and I've seen guys that were really hungry. And I go back to a Dante Hightower, Rolando McClain, a Julio Jones, a Trent Richardson, a Mark Ingram, all the way to Roquan Smith, to Nolan Smith, to Jordan Davis, to George Pickens, to Jake Fromm, to guys that played in our program, DeAndre Swift. You know what they had? They had a love for the game and fire, passion, and energy. That's not the same as it used to be. You can say what you want, but there's people more in college football today, especially in the SEC, that are comfortable with where they are. This is a pretty good life. I'm earning $200K a year. I'm very comfortable. And you don't reach your goals being comfortable. You don't attain great success. None of those people I mentioned before were ever comfortable. They were aiming at something. They had a goal. They wanted to go achieve it. What you see now is like, where's the drive and energy and enthusiasm? Well, we want people that have it. We're going to seek it. We're going to try to go find it. And if we can just do that 1% better than everybody else, gives us an opportunity to be ahead.
Coach, we're going to go right in front of me, front row.
Eric Henry, 24/7 Sports. Kirby, just curious, Texas has got a lot of attention entering this season, and you talk about how underclassmen heavy your program is. Do you sense a level of eagerness from the underclassmen to go prove that, hey, we can be just as good as the Georgia teams of the past, and quite frankly, we beat Texas twice last year?
Yeah, a lot of those kids didn't. They weren't the guys on the field. But yeah, I do sense in our practices and our workouts and the things we've been able to be a part of in the spring, there is a youthful exuberance. There is that can be positive and negative. I can sit up here last year and tell you how experienced we were. We had all these guys coming back. They played a lot of football. But are they motivated and are they really wanting to be great? As opposed to something when it's new, there's a lot more excitement. It's their first time getting a chance to start. It's their first time being a major player in the rotation. So there's good and bad about both. We got to manage that. We got to be patient with them and we got to get them better.
Go down to the center aisle, Mike.
Mike Griffith, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Dog Nation. Kirby, how much have your practices changed, or how much do you plan to modify them from the time of the back-to-back titles and Bloody Tuesdays now with longer seasons and now roster limitations in effect?
Well, it depends on how limited our roster is, because we're not all operating off of 105 right now. We have the ability, because of the settlement, to have some guys that were grandfathered in. So we will make changes and adaptations to how we do things based on our numbers. But right now, I don't know what those numbers are going to look like for fall camp and how many people we're going to bring in. So, the season, ultimately, we may have similar numbers to what we've had past years. Eventually, that's going to go down to 105, and you're going to have to change with each and every year. And I think you evolve as a coach. We've got to find more creative ways to get reps and grow players. And, we all study NFL teams the way they go about it. I just don't know if that's a perfect mirror, because the kids we're trying to develop need more reps than an NFL player. First thing a general manager tells us when they come see us is, don't come to our league to develop. We can't develop you. We don't have the practices. So if you actually want to get better at football where you can stay longer in the NFL, you have to go through the college regimen to grow and get better. They don't need the practices that we need.
Coach, we'll go over to our right-hand side on the far aisle.
Hey, Coach. Michael Bronner, WNSP in Mobile. The hot rumor yesterday was a secondhand rumor about Nick Saban possibly being interested in coming back to coach. And Lane Kiffin said he wouldn't be surprised. I was wondering if you could share your reaction as well as your relationship with Nick Saban since he's retired.
Yeah, I called him and offered him Muschamp's job, but he was overqualified. So he wasn't interested. No, I heard all the scuttlebutt and everything about it. I almost laughed. It was like somebody needed something interesting to talk about yesterday, so they chose to go to Coach Saban to do it. The game's better with him involved, and he is involved. He is passionate about it. He and I still talk and share ideas from time to time about defensive philosophies and the way to do things, and he's still watching tape and very, very involved in football. He loves it, and his brilliance, as brilliant as he is in many ways, is around football. I mean, it's around scheme. It's around another way to do something to stay ahead of the offensive minds. And I think that's one of the elite talents he has. And he still loves that. He's still passionate about that. But make no mistake about it, the boss at home is going to make that call for him, not him.
Okay, Coach, we'll go right in here in the front of us to the left on the front row.
Coach Smart, Terry Middleton from Horns Illustrated. First, congratulations on your marriage of 19 years.
Thank you.
So John McDade talked just before you did about all the rule changes in the game.
Did y'all love that? Did y'all love McDade? Everybody loves McDade's talk, man.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I'm curious what your take on some of those rules are, but specifically about he calls it the abrupt movement on defense. And people can contend that was one of the reasons that you probably beat Texas, pulling them off sides with your defense last season. So curious about all the rules, but specifically the abrupt movement on defense. How does that impact your team?
Yeah, you would need to define abrupt for me, because we could get in here and talk for hours about what's abrupt and what's not. Was that movement abrupt or was that slow? You sitting down. Like, you got to define abrupt. He's got to define abrupt, and he's got to teach his guys that go out in the field. And I think they do a tremendous job of tape study and how to go about that. So it's one of those things that is very intricate among football and football minds, and people try to manipulate it and do things and change things. The game's ever evolving. So I think John McDade and his staff do a tremendous job navigating that.
Coach, we'll go straight in front of me about halfway back.
Coach Nicolazzo from KCU in Columbia. You mentioned a young secondary a couple minutes ago. One position I wanted to ask you about was the strong safety. You brought in some transfers. You have some young, talented freshmen, but you also have some familiar names on the roster. You kind of give us some insight on how the position's going in heading into fall camp.
Yeah, we've got great competition there. KJ Bolden played a lot of snaps last year. He's coming back. We need him to be a leader. We need him to help set the tone for how to go about things. We got some older players there that are going to be in competition. We've got a couple transfers in. So, we do things a lot of times defensively by committee. We play a lot of players. I think we had third or fourth most players over 100 snaps. So if you come to Georgia, you expect to play. We want to give you an opportunity to play. So we get a lot of those guys reps and grow them, and we'll see where we are in fall camp at that position.
Okay, we'll take one final question in the section in front of me again, about halfway back.
Coach Joe Gaither, Alabama Crimson Tide on SI. The last time that Alabama played Georgia in Athens, you were defensive coordinator for the Crimson Tide. What are your thoughts on that game? This coming up year, last year's game was great. What are your thoughts on hosting Alabama this season?
It's a great atmosphere, just like we went into last year to play them. A night game on the road. They'll come to our place and play. A tremendous atmosphere. I know a lot of people from Tuscaloosa coming over to the game. Athens, the city loves it. We bring a great environment. It's what college football is about. This game is about playing great matchups like that. It's what the fan bases want. It's what the nation wants. It's what college football needs. It's what college football in the SEC is about. Georgia, Alabama at home at our place. I wish it could happen more often. Seems like we've played over there 3 or 4 times since they've come to see us and play. So it's a great opportunity, and look forward to it.
Coach Smart, we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, and go Dogs.
That was the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart, in the main room at the College Football Hall of Fame for SEC Media Days Day 2. When we come back, John's been in the main room as well. We'll get his thoughts about some things that Kirby Smart said, talking about A4s versus A4s, as well as speeding up development. Drew DeArmond with a really good question. Phone lines are also open to you. When we come back, 256-576-4977, as we continue on the Blitz on this Tuesday morning.
Joe Hunk, John Abraham, 256-576-4977. This is the Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement, it's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today.
Calling all UAH Charger students and parents. Welcome to Nexus, the first student apartment community built especially for you. Nexus is brand new, located next to the UAH Fitness Center. Enjoy your own bedroom, bathroom, fully furnished units, kitchen, washer, dryer, study room, and game lounges. And best of all, an easy walk to campus and classes. Call today to enjoy the complete college experience. Move in before fall classes start. 256-683-3939. And go Chargers.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
Your Fox 54 weather, brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. A couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Otherwise, temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s. Heat indices climbing into the upper 90s, lower triple digits. Temperatures drop into the mid-70s as we head into the overnight. Much the same as we head into your Wednesday. Mostly to partly sunny sky. Temperatures in the 90s, scattered showers and thunderstorms.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Talking Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. Only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SEC Media Days, Day 2 is officially underway after Kirby Smart met with the media in the main room just a little while ago, as those players are going to be coming up in just a little bit. It's not just Kirby Smart, but also you have other coaches coming around. Josh Heupel's going to be talking later on. Hugh Freeze is going to be talking around 11:15 as well. And then Steve Sarkisian's going to be the last head coach on the main podium throughout the day today. But John, who is at SEC Media Days in the College Football Hall of Fame, inside of that, you were in the main room for some things that Kirby was saying. What did you think?
I mean, I think this is a guy that's going into the new season feeling pretty confident about his team. I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, like you said before, Joe, I mean, he's coming back with a new quarterback. But outside of that, I mean, this is the same Kirby Smart, the same Georgia team that we've seen in the past. I mean, they are reloading and they have the talent. And it's not just coming from the getting kids from high school. It's also coming from the transfer portal. There's a lot of that is coming in this year. I mean, with their wide receiver room, I look at that alone. I mean, they've got Dylan Bell coming back. He's been a stud for them for the last 2 years. And on top of that, you bring in a guy like Zachariah Branch. And that's just on the offensive side. And this wide receiver room is looking spectacular. If he can fully develop, and this is one thing he doesn't like to rush, if he could fully develop his quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, into the quarterback that he needs to be to lead this team, then this is a team that's going to be able to follow up with a very successful season. I mean, again, last year, they lost to Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost to the national champions. I would say they were 3 going out of last season. Going into this season, I'm already predicting that they're going to be able to make it to the playoffs, and that's just because, well, as other teams reload completely, Georgia's a team that doesn't really need that much reloading. They already have a lot of that talent. I mean, even on their defensive side, they're only the one position that they're bringing in is at the linebacker position, and it's Elo Mendozi. And you bring in him on top of some other guys like Zion Branch, who also coming from USC, like the wide receiver I just brought up a moment ago. You know, it's just looking like a very deep team. And it's looking like a Kirby Smart who is looking to get another national championship under his belt. Now, is it going to come easier? Is it going to come as easy as it did in the past? No. I mean, we've heard guys on the station earlier that talked about undefeated teams would be the best college football teams of all time this time moving forward. So I think that is this development comes. It's less development that other teams have to have. But I do think that there's just a lot of confidence there. And we heard from Drew. He brought it up. He brought up how he needs to develop guys, or how he does try and extend that development or push that development to make it happen a little bit faster. And I don't think Kirby is in a rush because he doesn't need to be in a rush. And I like that about him. It just seems like he's got some time on his hands to develop the team the way that he wants to. And I think that he's already got that in the bag.
Well, I think that with Georgia, it's also a thing of, like, you talk about Gunnar Stockton and him being the new starting quarterback, and you brought in a couple new wide receivers. You got to figure out how those guys are going to work. But also with the way that Georgia's schedule is in 2025, they get a couple of games to kind of figure things out. Like, it's not like LSU where they have to play Clemson early on. It's not like when you're looking at teams like South Carolina that started, with Virginia Tech, or Tennessee with Syracuse, or Texas with Ohio State. Like, they are looking at Marshall and Austin Peay, and then they go to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. So they have a couple of weeks to really figure out, like, what's working and what is not. And the way this offense is, it's not like he's going to be changing too much. This offense has been what the offense is, and you're bringing in the parts that normally work for him. But I love the part about the development versus the comfort. And the fact that you can't rush the development of a player. Like, you just have to, like, guide it. And it's up to the player how much they actually want to improve and to get ready to get onto the field. And I think that with Georgia, they have a competitive locker room. And people don't realize what a competitive locker room can do, where when you are in a competitive locker room, and you look to your left and look to your right, and you see how hard those guys are working, either you're going to stop working hard because you feel like you don't have a chance of catching up, or it's going to cause you to work harder because you want to outdo them, but in a way that benefits the team. A competitive locker room, and that's what Georgia has been able to build, that those guys begin to start governing themselves and supporting themselves, and then you start having this ecosystem that's been created where they start to challenge each other, but in the best way. Like, being in a competitive locker room is electrifying is the best way to the best way to do it. And that's the way that you continue to get players to grow when you're a coach that can't be around the players all the time, because you know that those players are working hard to get on the field because they have to work hard to get on the field. Like, those are the types of locker rooms you want to build. And for him to talk about, finding guys that were hungry and that weren't, happy with that quote unquote $200,000 a year, like, that in itself is one of those things of, like, that's what you want. Like, that is the goal to build. And I don't think enough programs understand what it takes to kind of find the right guys to be able to build that type of atmosphere.
And I think it also adds on to the guys that you bring in. It gets to a point, and this happened with Alabama, Nick Saban, and that whole tenure, which I think is what Kirby Smart's trying to do. I mean, of course, this is one of the dudes that's been under Nick Saban through a long amount of time, and we heard plenty of conversation about Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and all that stuff, which you're going to get, but I think it does get to the point where you start loading up on guys that might not even see the field, but everybody wants to be at the school. So if they're at the school, they know that they're going to learn how to be a better player. And then with the help of the transfer portal, they're able to go out to a Texas Tech or a Washington State, and they're able to get that starting job, and they're able to, well, propel their career forward a little bit more just because they had that experience at Georgia. And, I mean, this is a team that's not just 4 wide. This is a team that extends to 5 wide. There are some positions where you will look on their depth chart, and it goes all the way to 5 guys. And that is something you just do not see in college football at this day and age. I mean, Auburn has guys that go 4 wide. But whenever you get to 5 guys, like 5 quarterbacks or 5 wide receivers in the same room, and then that's on top of all the other positions that you're going to be in, that gets to a point where everybody is going to be pushing each other. And then it is just diamond sharpening diamond, and you are going to get whatever comes out of that. And right now, it's looking like a pretty good wide receiver room. Again, though, when it comes to the quarterbacks, although we're looking at Gunnar Stockton to be the starter, you really hope that that's the guy that has been the diamonds have really been sharpening, because he's the guy you kind of been bagging on for the last few years. Of course, going into his junior year, he's a redshirt. But if he is able to succeed the way that Kirby envisions, then, I mean, this is a team that has nothing to lose except for, maybe 1 game, I would say. I'm not going to say this team would go undefeated, but this is a team that could definitely go a long way with what they got. But we're looking forward to what Hugh Freeze has to say, because he's going to be up on the podium in just a few moments. We're going to be throwing you guys over to that. I know, Joe, you are excited. You are ecstatic to hear what Hugh Freeze has got to say.
I do. I have my trash can right beside me so that I can throw up with every single word that he says. Again, he's on my screen right now because he is on the set for SEC Network, and I'm just rolling my eyes at every single second of it. Out of every day that I kind of sit and think about being in Atlanta with you guys, this is the one day. Even though you have, it's a second session is Tennessee, and I would love to be there for that. I'm very happy that I'm back in the studio for this, because this is the one day that I couldn't really do the PC like, so Jackson Arnold, how are you feeling today?
Yeah.
How have you improved? And I'm sitting here going,
You're lying like Hugh Freeze would be.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
You're lying to yourself.
I'm sitting and I'm just looking at it going, man, I am, this is the one day that I'm very, very happy that I am back in studio with this, because with a lot of what's going on with it, like, it's talking season. You can tell when Kirby Smart was talking earlier about the building and being ready at game time and practicing all the time, like you're going to be the starter, like, and the way Gunnar Stockton was. Look, Gunnar Stockton came into a situation, the SEC championship. If you really think about it, if Georgia would have lost that game to Texas because of Gunnar Stockton having to come in, nobody would have blamed Georgia. Like, do you really see anybody blaming Georgia for losing to Notre Dame? It's like, okay, your starter went down. You played with your backup. Like, I get
and
it.
And it was up against the team that had one of the best defenses in all college football.
It's not like you were playing, it wasn't like, again, he lost to Austin Peay. They lost to a team that almost won a national championship. So it's not like it's when you get to the college football playoff, and especially with the way it is designed now, you're playing arguably the best teams in the country. That's why they're there. And to see Kirby Smart talking about that and how Gunnar Stockton was practicing like he was a starter, you could see the honesty in how he talks, just like you're going to see the opposite of that at 11:15.
Yeah, 11:15.
Like it's going to be it's going to be the direct opposite of that. Like, you're going to sit there and you're going to, every single word he says, you'll be like, oh, you are so lying out your mouth.
Look, I get where you're coming from with Hugh Freeze. A lot of people have their own opinions on him. I am still kind of, I don't know. I'm out. It's just, first off, it's Auburn, so it's for me. I'm an Alabama guy. Whenever I kind of push back that when I pull in the bias, I pull in the bias, and I think I was like, geez, I don't really care. I don't want this team to succeed, but at the same time, I do want them to succeed so we can talk about them alongside Alabama and build up that rivalry at the end of the year. But you do need to look at the players. I know your opinions on Jackson Arnold, Joe. He is here. I haven't seen him, but I have seen Keldrick Falk and I have seen Connor Liu. So these are two guys that really do embody what Auburn wants to be, and I love that from them because it is honesty. It's the opposite of what we've seen from their coach. And you could go and check out on 97.7 ESPN The Zone's Facebook page and Instagram page. We do have some stories up. Hugh Freeze did come by the studio and he was tapping on his offensive lineman, and he was just straight up. He was having a good time, and I love that. But at the same time, you got to think what's going on behind his mind. How confident is he in his team, and what exactly is he going to be saying on that podium that is fact and also fiction?
Well, and look, everything that I ever say about Hugh Freeze and about this Auburn program is 100% connected to him. It's not about the players. It's not about that because, again, talent-wise, this team is extremely talented. Jackson Arnold's development as a quarterback is going to be the biggest question in it. And if he would have had a season or an off season where I could say, you know what, I saw and I've seen that he has worked with minds that can continue to help him grow as a quarterback, then I would absolutely start believing that. But the fact that he chose the opposite direction, not going to the Manning Academy, not doing things like that where it could have helped him with some of the most brilliant minds in the quarterback position.
Yeah,
I'm going to be asking those questions, and I want to be wrong. Look, I'm literally sitting here right now talking to you, and I'm in studio. I'm wearing an Auburn shirt. So, it's not like I'm not an Auburn fan, but I think that a lot of this, as far as the talent on the offensive side of this, is starting to kind of, look similar to other teams where you say this defense could be tremendous. The problem is going to be how much time are they going to spend on the field because the offense is sputtering. But we'll continue talking about that. John is inside the College Football Hall of Fame. SEC Media Days Day 2 continues as we continue on the Blitz, ESPN Winchester, as well as 97.7 ESPN The Zone. But I actually think that we're going to be staying until the end of the hour, correct? Okay. Bandy is in studio with us. He's over there at the other ones. I think I gave him a little panic attack.
A little bit. I kind of miscommunicated that.
No. He was giving me hand motions, and I thought he meant, hey, go to break. But instead he's like, hey, keep going because we're almost at the break. And I'm like, all right, cool.
We could have fit in a small little break, came back to the Tom Abraham segment.
But no, absolutely. Look, I would much rather it be this way. So ESPN Winchester, this is what you need to go. And besides, again, we also, because of the way that the show started out with us going directly into Kirby Smart, we haven't been able to thank our friends at Fleming. So, that's a big important part of this.
Yeah. They've got us covered, and I think they've got the entire College Football Hall of Fame covered because I haven't seen one drip or drop. So Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com. Joe, I'm looking at the schedule from last year for these Auburn Tigers, and this was a team that did surprise a lot of people at times. It was really on and off, and I look at one game in particular, and I want to know your opinions on it and how they could use this game to kind of go forward into this upcoming season, and that was that matchup against Texas A&M. It was a back and forth battle. All the way through. What do you think is the main takeaway, I would say, from this Auburn-Texas A&M matchup? One of those shootouts all the way to the end, 43-41, Auburn wins it. That Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold really need to hone in on when it comes down to this new season.
Well, the biggest thing that it was the fact that Peyton Thorne only threw one interception. Look, it's the turning over the football for Auburn is going to be a big key with this, and I want to say focus on the positives with this because I can go a totally different direction that would landmine this. But when I'm looking at it, you actually got Cam Coleman the football. He was able to get some space. He averaged and had a fantastic 63-yard catch that was absolutely tremendous. Marcel Reed, you got a turnover from him on Texas A&M side. Yeah. The biggest question for this Auburn team is that are you going to be able to continue this throughout the season? And the reason why I bring that up and I say this is because you are going to have some absolutely tremendous weapons at the wide receiver position. It is between Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton Jr. Those are, and honestly, you could argue that Auburn has one of the best wide receiver rooms in the SEC. That is a legitimate argument that you can have when talking about this team. So like that is not, let's not lose that on anything else. Okay. Because again, we know how negative that I can be with the way that Cam Coleman is playing and his ability that he has at the wide receiver position. He is also one in which that you could see earlier in the season getting him involved. Yeah. He's got to get involved early. You want to get him engaged. Most wide receivers, and especially a guy like Cam Coleman, who's a 5-star, who thinks like literally he can catch every single football that is thrown to him, that, why are you throwing it over there when you know that I can get it and be able to break one? Like that is who he is. And honestly, that's also part of being a quarterback, is being able to kind of navigate the egos. And I use egos in a positive way, because you want your wide receivers to have those egos, believing that they can beat every single player that they're going up against. But you also need to be able to feed them to get them going in the offense so that they don't disengage early, and then it takes them a quarter to get re-engaged. So with Cam Coleman, that was part of the idea with Texas A&M in this. I mean, you put up 2 touchdowns early in that football game. The offense itself, you cannot go a quarter or two without scoring. That's going to be something you're going to hear later on. When you talk about Tennessee football, the fact that there was 3 and 4 games where you can sit and go, this team didn't even score a point in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. That is something you cannot do. It sounds asinine to sit and think to yourself, what do you mean they didn't score a point in the first quarter? Yeah. I mean, there was like a 3 or 4 game span for Tennessee where they didn't score in the first quarter. You have got to get this offense going. And quite frankly, if we're even talking about going to the coin toss, don't put your defense out there first. Put the offense out. Just every single time you win a toss, put the O on the field. We want the big O. We need that O face.
So
that is what we need.
So I talked with Paul Martin yesterday. We have that interview up on WZZN TV. Actually got an inside look at the new Netflix series, SEC Football, Any Given Saturday. I'll talk about my experience with that, and we'll continue on with SEC Media Days here live from Atlanta. John Abraham, Joe Hunk, Bandyman, Bailey Lowry produced the show. We'll be back for the second hour here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Phone lines are open now. 256-576-4977. This is The Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The Drive.
Both those guys have done a good job in what we've asked them to do, and both of them have developed nicely, and both of them have consistently made plays.
Wes and Steve.
Their decision-making, their judgment, their ability not to force things and take what the defense gives and distribute the ball with good decision-making, down in, down out, is probably the only thing that's going to be any different about them, because it's not physical ability or talent. So it's intangibles, leadership, decision-making, judgment, and all those types of things. And, both guys have done a good job in that regard as well.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton each weekday afternoon starting at 5. We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
It's training camp week at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Download the VSiN NFL Betting Guide at VSIN.com. Buccaneers favored to win the NFC South Division title. The Falcons a second choice at plus 250 with an over-under win total prediction of over 7.5 wins. Carolina Panthers prediction under 6.5 wins. The Saints under 5.5 wins. Steve McAdoo says they could be headed for the worst record of the NFL. Paulie Howard of Follow the Money has bet the Saints to have the worst record of the NFL. It's one of his best bets at 5-1. Another of McAdoo's best bets under 6.5 wins at minus 190. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your Fox 54 weather, brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Temperatures only drop into the mid-70s as we head into the overnight. Mostly to partly sunny sky for your Wednesday. Once again, temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s. Heat indices climbing into the upper 90s, lower triple digits. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast. Much the same as we head into your Thursday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, temperatures in the 90s.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Log on today, 97.7ESPN.com. Joe Hunk, John Abraham, 256-576-4977. Welcome to the Blitz.
Second hour, final hour, best hour on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and the Blitz. Joe Hunk, John Abraham, as SEC Media Day 2 is underway. Over at the College Football Hall of Fame, as it is Georgia Day, Auburn, Tennessee, Texas are all going to be making their ways around, as Auburn and Georgia are up first in the morning session. Afternoon session is going to be all about the Power T. You just pick which one you like. It's whichever one you are truly a fan of. There, we just heard from Kirby Smart a little while ago. Hugh Freeze is going to be on the podium coming up in about an hour and 15 minutes as well. And John, I have been over the course of the last, say, about 5 minutes. Okay. I've been trying to read a legal document.
Huh. Okay.
I can't read legal documents. I can't.
I'll be falling asleep.
I mean, it's not that I'm falling asleep. It's just that, look, I'm already ADHD, so I'm already going to read the same line 4 times just because that's how my mind works, and I forget that I've already read the line. But then I have to reread the reread so that I reread and understand the read that I just read. Mm-hmm. I also understand how I got that out of my mouth and actually made sense. So On 3, a little bit later on in the day, yesterday afternoon, put out an article that said that there are already collectives that are starting to put together a lawsuit against the NCAA's new agreement.
Makes sense.
Like that. And about the fact that the NIL Go program is saying that there needs to be like a quote unquote legitimate business reason for a said player to actually be getting the money that they're getting. And so I've been going through this for a few minutes, and it comes into something that Lane Kiffin mentioned yesterday. And I was curious about the way this is going because you heard Kirby Smart talk about players getting paid just a little while ago. I'm sure every single coach is going to talk about players getting paid. But it says in here that On3 spoke to a couple of people, and it said that there was an SEC NIL collective that actually told On3 that they submitted a deal 2 weeks ago to the NIL Go system for an actual event that was taking place that a football player was supposed to be at, and it was supposed to be part of his deal.
Oh.
That it was, again, this was part of it was. They were going through the proper procedures, but because the NIL Go program put out that release last week that said, you know, they're getting so many delays and going through everything and that it's taking forever, that the event the player was supposed to be at had already now passed.
Oh, geez.
And that this is now they're having to figure something out because this was a part of the NIL deal that they were trying to do properly. There was a Big Ten collective booster that talked to On3 that said that he's been waiting almost 3 weeks for a clearinghouse response on a 6-figure deal that involves a player doing certain events that are coming up. And so this is part of what we're going to see is that now these collectives are saying, look, man, we're doing the way that you want us to do it. Like, we're going about this the way that we are supposed to. And now you are going against the deals that we made because you can't clear them for the said deals that we've already made a deal about.
I mean, this just goes right back into it. I mean, this is still new. And as these new things happen, new things are put on top of them. And it gets to the point where we're still trying to figure out the past new thing before we're figuring out the brand new thing, which is the NIL Go program, which I think is a great idea. But again, we're trying to jump over the main problem, and that's the NIL in the first place and how we can truly dictate that. And I think that it will come a time. And I think there's going to still be problems even 5 years from now when it comes down to it. But it's something that we can't expect to be fixed overnight. And with people that are investing the money into these programs to see these players show up at these events, they need to understand that. I mean, this is something that's still fresh. And I get that everything's supposed to be perfect in a perfect world. But, I mean, college football being perfect? Steve, do you think that's true? He doesn't think that's true. I just wanted like a head nod or something like that.
It's kind of ironic, ain't it?
Yes. Now,
nod. Is that all you want?
Yeah, I wanted a head
I
nod.
don't mean to step on you there, Joe Hunk.
No, it's okay. Tom took over the last 30 minutes of the show yesterday, so it's okay.
Hopefully I don't have to cut you off, Steve.
Yeah. So,
Man, Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing absolutely tremendous.
He's having headaches from these legal documents he's trying to read.
No, yeah, I did. I tried to
You should listen to him instead. Put him into the audiobook.
No, I wish I could. But Pete Nakos didn't put this in audio form. He just put this in an article. And so I'm reading all this. And I was curious about this because, Steve, since you're here, let's go ahead and ask you as well. So Lane Kiffin yesterday, when he was up on the podium, okay, he was asked about the paying of the players and everything like that. For those of you that missed it, this is what Lane had to say.
You know, we get a lot of questions like, what's it like now? Well, we have under this cap guidelines of what was coming and what it was going to look like. So I think we've done a really good job of that. It obviously means you can't sign as many players as you'd like at times because you have a budget. So we're obviously hopeful that, you know, that'll be rewarded by doing that. I think it's obvious people aren't staying within that cap. So I think the whole thing will be what does that look like? And that's what we don't know. You know, what does it look like when you don't? And what are the punishments for that? Do you win and then that comes later? So that's remained to be seen. But already got the questions about the cap and what is that like now having to do that. We've been doing that for a while, operating on that.
All right, so let me ask you two a very just asinine question, because I like asking these so that we can say yes or no to them. What if in college football the universities not only had a cap, but the collectives had a cap?
Players are still getting their money. I mean, they might not be getting an asinine amount of money, but they're still getting their money, and then you're able to monitor it a little bit better.
You know who brought up that exact proposition last week?
Who?
Deion Sanders.
Did he really? Did props say that?
Big 12
Okay.
media did.
See?
Yeah, he brought it up for a salary cap in the NCAA.
See, so what if, because again, like you hear lines like, they're not working within the cap, and then you got, these guys are getting 6 figures and this guy's getting this. What if the collective had a cap as well? And once you reach the cap, the money that you're donating then goes into the other funds, where only the X amount can be used for the actual. So there actually is a salary cap when it comes to the players.
I'd be for it. I would. But in theory, that this feels a lot like baseball, and because the Yankees do not live inside that same. That's why they pay the penalty,
right?
But I would be. I would be for it.
Look, here's the crazy
it.
thing is, and you missed it. I mean, people I think may not have missed this because it's obviously the NHL. That
That's right.
The NHL has basically taken away the whole reason Shohei Ohtani's even got the contract that he has, because now they don't have the deferred years.
That's right.
They have said that, look, the contract is the contract. The money he is paid is now going to be paid over the life of the contract. There is no deferred payments anymore. So you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the way that teams like the Dodgers get rid of it. That's the reason why, in the way that the NFL is able to give some of the contracts that they give, because they have those, deferred years on the contract. I mean,
could you do that with college football? I mean, you could pay them past their time at the college. I guess you could do that.
A smart individual and smart parents and someone who has that knowledge, and it's certainly very well documented. We just celebrated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, responsible college students. I mean,
I know. Listen, I know that's an oxymoron a little bit, but it is a smarter way. In fact, one of the very first ideas that I heard that I really liked was setting up money for their adult life of being access to this money when they hit 25, 30. But that's a lot of people agreeing on a lot of things, and this is not 32 teams.
Yeah.
This is a lot of people agreeing on a lot of things with a lot of money changing hands.
I can tell you this: a lot of those college students don't want to lose those Lamborghinis. They don't want to lose them.
Of course not. But the other side of this is like, I think that if we're talking about this, we talk about the NFL, that you've got to hit certain numbers. Like, hey, if this wide receiver hits 1,000 yards receiving, he gets a signing bonus. I think that should also be a part of it, involved in an actual graduation and a diploma. Like, it should be if you get your graduation from said university, there is a $600,000 bonus involved in this.
I'm all for that.
Like that.
I'm all for
there
that.
we go. Now you start talking about the student part of this that we're starting to talk about, as far as, hey, here is the deal. You have it, like, what do we hear about when the NFL happens is so-and-so just signed a six-year, $135 million deal with the possibility of it going to $150 million based on incentives.
Well, how often have you even heard of, to underline your point, Joe, of someone graduating college and the parents give them a car or some kind of just pat on the back and here's a check and going to give you a start into your adulthood. It does feel like a definite point that every kid needs to get to, and that is a college degree.
Well, and that's the whole
I like
part
that
of,
a lot.
I mean, it's just an idea that we're talking about with this, because part of this, of what's happening at SEC Media Days, you've heard a lot about NIL. You've heard obviously a lot about the college football playoff and the incentives and all this. Like, that's another aspect of this is if we're having players like Nico, and I know he's going to get talked about later on this afternoon,
He's already getting talked
and he's already getting talked about, that supposedly did what they did before the Ohio State game, then why not put that into the contract that you were supposed to be signing of? You are getting $1 million, but you only get the full amount if X, Y, and Z takes place and you play in every single what we now call the A4. I love that Kirby used that term A4 because I think that is 100% what we should be calling it now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you play in every single game against an A4. Those are the things that I think need to be discussed in this, that when I start hearing about this of going, look, if the players are getting this amount of money as far as the university is concerned, but they can only give out $20.5 million or whatever it is. If the collectives can still get together and give out $100 million, then what is the point of the whole NCAA thing to begin with? So shouldn't we be talking about both having a cap where all universities now have basically collective balance?
This is all outside of the extra money that they could get. With
Joe, you're making too much sense.
You're making a lot of sense.
You're making way too much sense.
Look, I watched this
4D chess.
I watched this first episode for this new Netflix
Maybe it's
series.
dollars, not cents.
Okay, I watched the first episode of that new Netflix series that's coming out. It's coming out August 12th. I finally got the date. Those players are going to get money from that. You'd think they would get money for that. That is their name, image, and likeness. Inside of that, we saw at West.
Is anybody selling their jerseys? You remember is anybody selling their jerseys?
They're definitely being sold. They're definitely being sold. But we were talking.
I don't mean Drew and his collection.
Yeah.
I mean, is anybody selling their jersey?
Like right now, if you go down to Tiger Rags, is there like a Jackson Arnold jersey with the number 11 on the back? Is that what you mean?
Might be able to go down into the little area
the little
down
rotunda
below us,
Yes.
and there might actually be some jerseys down there.
If you drove
purchase.
over to Athens, like what is Athens? What is Georgia's version of Tiger Rags, Steve? Like what is their version? Like what's the store?
Well, I used to go into the Cotton Club. I don't know if the Cotton Club is still a thing,
So
but the Cotton Club was a big deal.
All right, so if the Cotton Club is there, and I'm looking up the Cotton Club now, like, do we go to the Cotton Club and we just go, hey man, yeah, I need my Gunnar Stockton jersey. Like, can I get the Stitch version that's got the cuff sleeves? Like, can I get that one?
Pricey.
Yeah,
that one's gonna be pricey.
Can I get the on-field version that's like $400? Can I buy that one? Like, like we're talking about with the NFL, you can get the good stitching, you can get the iron-on stitching, or you can get the ones that they're actually wearing on the field. Like, which one do you get?
Well, hey, you know what? Around here, we've been talking about the Beyonce concert.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been selling Beyonce T-shirts on the street. You want to get the ones on the street or the ones at the concert?
Because she's not getting money from the ones on the street.
No,
where they went to John's apartment and they got that press that they just printed it off on the computer. And they just got like 50 different Hanes cotton T-shirts from the Walmart real fast, and they threw it in there. We're like, look, these are only $10 compared to the $50 you got to pay in there, and it's the exact same image. Trust me, I got it off of the website, and so I can get this right here outside. Like, dude, I know how the scam works.
It's the extra money that the players are going to be able to make. That I think is why there should be a cap on the money that is able to be regulated, where they're going to get the extra money. If they're a good player, if they are a very popular player, they're going to get the money. Whit Weeks was very much represented in that new episode of that SEC show. And any given Saturday.
His entire family has gone through LSU.
Yeah, and that is a time where I'm thinking, I was like, the first thing that came through my mind when I saw him up on the screen was, is he getting paid for this? He's getting paid for this. This is something outside of everything else that we're talking about, because this is an external source that is producing this show and giving more of an identity to some of these players. And this is the extra money that these players are going to be able to make for being so popular or being a little bit more out there. So I'm looking at that to say there's going to be a limit that is going to come for certain NIL. But now with that external NIL, that's wherever that extra money is going to come, where these players are going to be able to get those Lamborghinis and continue to purchase all of these things. I do want to talk a little bit about this any given Saturday, though, because it was very, very interesting. I didn't get to watch it all because I thought we were going to leave, but then you guys were still eating.
We do have a show in the evening.
I mean, I'm just glad I got to watch it because that was really cool. But we do need to hop into a break.
And before you go to a break,
yes.
a big shout out to Bailey. the Bandy man. It's great to hear your voice, and I appreciate your work this week. I hope this is not isolated. How about that? It's great to get you back, brother.
Hey, well, thank you for letting me come back, man. It's been fantastic. Just kind of reconnecting with everybody and hearing all of y'all again.
Yeah, it's your first time since in the move. It's
Oh yeah. No slanted ceilings.
I gave him the tour.
It'd been nice of you to be here to help us move.
There's a little bit of a drip. There's a little drip.
A little bit of a drip. I'm no longer hitting my forehead on a corner anymore.
I told him when he got in here, I was like, you've seen the special feature that we've added that you only get to see once you get into the studio. And he's like looking at me going, what are you talking about? I was like, the company pool. Like you're seeing the company pool. You got to have the special key to get to that.
We do need to hop into a break. We will have a little bit more conversation. Hugh Freeze is going to be right around the corner. So, Steve, let's make sure. I don't know when Hugh Freeze is supposed to be going.
No, it's 11:15, John. We've said this 5 times.
Okay, just making sure. So we will hop into a break. When we come back, Joe, you know that I have bad math and bad timing. When we come back, though, I do want to break down a little bit of what I watched yesterday. An exclusive look at Any Given Saturday, a new Netflix series centered around the SEC when we get back here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, and WZZN TV from SEC Media Days.
Joe Hunk, John Abraham. You can watch the Blitz live now on X at 97.7 ESPN.
It's the Ford Summer Sales Event at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey folks, Bobby White back again, and I'm here to tell you now is the time to get the Ford you've been thinking about. From 0 down leases to 0% financing, we've got it going on this summer. Woody Anderson Ford has financing as low as 0% for 48 months, plus 0 down payment, plus 0 payments for 90 days, plus 2-year 25,000-mile complimentary maintenance. You can choose a 2025 Escape, F-150, Explorer, or a Mustang. Or how about 0 down lease? $499 a month for a 2025 Explorer, F-150, or Bronco. And just $399 a month for Bronco Sport, Mustang, and Escape. Again, these are 0 down with complimentary maintenance too. This is a 36-month lease with 0 down, 0 security deposit, just tax, tag, title, and your good credit. These offers end 9/2/25. It's our Woody Anderson Ford Summer Sales Event. So hurry on down. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Diamonds all in my ring, player. Gold watches, gold chain, player. 100,000 champagne, player. Yeah, my money insane, player. Yeah, I'm making it rain, player. But I was just on a plane, player. Buying gear, flying here. It ain't what you heard, it's my time of year. If I'm in the club, I get 100 stacks. I'm always so I get love for that. I heard he stole my swag, but I don't want it back. I was on this, but now I'm on to that. You see it in my closet for it's on the rack. Was out there in Hawaii, now I'm going back. I got so much money, I should start a bank. So much paper right in front of me, it's hard to think. Buy so many bottles, it's gonna be hard to drink. But I'm still pulling up and my family here and they so the bigger the bill, the harder you ball. Pull up those
Exclusive look
cause my money low.
at SEC football any given Saturday yesterday.
John, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to landmine you for a second.
You know what? That's funny. I actually landmined you by doing the opening because you weren't doing it. Where were you?
That was because Bandy and I were still talking about the last segment and some and SEC Media Day stuff. And so I looked down and saw your mouth moving and I went, I wonder if he's trying to tell me something that I just can't hear right now. So I put the earpiece in and I was like, oh, music's playing. So that's 100% my fault.
No, you're good. And now you're going to landmine me after your fault. Yeah. Okay.
I'll kind of take the blame on that one. I brought up Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, he did. He brought up Hugh Freeze.
You can't do that.
I was stopping you and landmine you because however long you've been talking until I started talking to you, nobody really heard it. So that's the reason why I was getting you to start back over, because the first thing I heard you talk about was the show that you watched last night. So that's the reason why I stopped you, is so that you could actually talk where people could hear you.
So nobody could hear me whenever I first opened up. I thought it was a pretty good opening, but whatever.
No. Either
way,
nobody heard a single thing.
Hugh Freeze right around the corner, 11:15 at your guys' time. For me, it's going to be a little bit different, but I have a clock in front of me that shows the Central Time, so that's what's been throwing me off because I've tried to adjust to this Eastern time zone. Everybody's like gone from the area that I'm at right now, but I do want to talk a little bit about this Any Given Saturday. It's the new Netflix series going to be coming out in August, and I watched the first episode in a movie theater style room here at the College Football Hall of Fame, and it starts out, and I'm not going to tell you every little detail about it, but it starts out and follows one team at a time, and it kind of switches over. And I'll say this: I mean, I was talking about it with Weeks. It does start out with LSU, and it follows their last season opener against USC, and I think that it was really cool the way that it showed the inside of some of these players' lives and coaches' lives, and I love that aspect about it because I feel like we haven't got that type of feeling in a long time. Okay, we don't get to know the personalities of some of these players because NFL is one thing. Look, they got the face masks on. We do have Hard Knocks. We do get a sliver of their lives, and now all these social media feeds do a really good job showing their personalities just a little bit more. But for the most part, all these guys do is football. In college, it's almost like it was a thing to stop these players from talking. You just said, don't talk. You don't want a personality because you don't want to get on, you don't want to say the wrong thing and then go on and lose to a team that you shouldn't be losing to, because then it would be embarrassing and then there would be a trickle-down effect from there. But yesterday, getting to see this documentary, very high quality. It also has really good sound, and it's all about putting you into the feeling of the fall, okay? And, Joe, we talked about how amazing the atmosphere in college football is. Yeah. We talk about it in college football 26 and how it really does make you feel like you're a part of the game. But when I was watching it, the way that they were able to get these high-quality cameras within the crowd and have the crowd all around them, it really made it feel like a spectacle, and I think that's going to be something a lot of people appreciate, as well as the sounds that they used. The sound design was impeccable.
So you got a little bit of more in-depth look at this, obviously,
Yeah.
with the special screening that you guys had last night. Is this something that is a team-by-team episode, like where it goes through the whole season in one episode for a particular team? Or is this kind of like quarterback, or those where it goes through like a week-by-week thing, and the further we get into the series, then we start getting into Texas and Georgia in the college football playoff and things like that?
So I think it's actually just jumping from certain games to certain games. And again, I left halfway through and then came back to watch the ending of it because I thought we would be leaving. But of course, Steve had to eat food. What a human being he is. But whenever I first watched it, it focused on one game, okay, and the build up to that game and what the team was doing outside of the locker room. It focused on a few players. Whit Weeks was one of them, and his lifestyle, and I really liked that, as well as his brother, because they played together last season. But then whenever I came back, it was focusing on another game, but it was this time focusing on two SEC teams instead of one SEC team against USC, and that was LSU versus USC in Las Vegas. But now we actually got to see the vibes of the SEC atmosphere and this game that I don't want to tell you which game it is. Joe, if you want to guess, you can, but I'm not going to tell you. But let's just say it was one of the biggest games for LSU last season, and I thought it was cool. But it did do a good job of focusing not just on LSU, but on the other team as well. So it seems like it's going to be focusing on certain games throughout the season and then transitioning slowly to other teams within the SEC, while also showing and representing that team that it focused on at the beginning of the episode. If that's how they want to go throughout the entire season, it might just hop around from team to team and game to game as well.
Well, the reason I say is because I enjoy the way that quarterback / wide receiver and quarterback again, that series that Netflix is doing. I enjoy how in the very beginning you get to know everybody, like the big quarterbacks and the big players. And then as the season goes along, they then start to weed things out. Like if you remember a few years ago, obviously Marcus Mariota was a member of the Falcons. He was a starting quarterback. He was part of that series. The moment that he quits the team, they literally his road on the show was done. Like they didn't keep going back to him. Then it continued to go. And then when Kirk Cousins lost in the playoffs, his show was done. And so literally like the entire last episode was about just Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs playing in the Super Bowl. Like it had followed all the quarterbacks that far. That's where I was curious about it, because you start to go down this path of and getting the raw emotion of the players as they're doing the interviews throughout the week. And you can kind of see how they change throughout the whole period. I like the way that flowed.
Yeah. And John, you're talking about like a game by game thing. That also kind of intrigues me. Like imagine they take like the biggest matchup of week 1. They start episode 1 like that. Then you go into the biggest matchup of week 2. And then you just go game by game until the end of the season. Then you hit the college football playoff. You got like a whole 2-3 episode segment dedicated to that. Like that just sounds great.
Yeah, it is a Netflix series, though, and that means there's going to be a limited amount of episodes. I believe there's 7 or 8 episodes that are going to be throughout the first season, but it is going to focus on a lot of those big-time games. The ones that I saw, at least yesterday, during the exclusive screening of it, were 2 games that I remember watching this past year, and those were ones that stuck with me for the entirety of the football season. So it did focus on some of the earlier matchups for LSU, but I think it kind of weeded out the POS games, which I'm pretty happy about.
Okay, but did you catch it, Joe? That's at number 2. We're going to slowly but surely weed out what game it was out of them by the end of this episode.
Yeah, no, you are.
So LSU,
okay,
in a game you were really paying attention to last year.
Yeah. Well, that's all. Those are all the hints I'm going to get you until you ask me another question. I give you another one on accident.
Okay.
But it was good. I'm very much excited for it. I think it's one series that I could see myself getting a Netflix subscription again and just watching this one. And it's made by a group that is focused on tennis documentaries. They focused on F1, so it's an international company. And whenever Paul was talking about it, I really liked the way that he explained it. He was saying that he wanted to create something that he could show to his mates. That's how he said it to me. He could show to his mates and get them into the sport as well. Because, again, outside of America, college football is not as big as a lot of people would like to think. That's what it's all soccer.
No, and
F1.
it's, again, look, outside of America, like, you don't hear anything about college basketball in England. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is no, thinking about that, like, really.
They still don't have backboards over there in England.
No,
Come on
I'm genuinely think about this. Like, we never hear about other colleges in the countries like that, in the United Kingdom and all their sports and all of that. So, we hear about rowing. I mean, like, it's those things. So, this is a massive niche whenever you're talking about this right here. This would be like the equivalent of, to them, they're going, wait a second, you're watching teenagers play a sport? Like, why? Like, they don't,
yeah, but they're really good at it.
Yeah, but they're really, really good at that. Like, they're the best of the best teenagers. So no, people don't get it, but I also think that there is a spot in this very similar to like us the other day joking around about cricket when it was on, because I refused to watch Wimbledon. That I guarantee if there was a documentary that was really interesting about cricket, you're going, oh my heavens, I'm involved in this. Like, I don't even know what she's saying half the time, but I'm so involved in this. Like,
I don't know about that one.
I
don't know about that one, Chief.
You don't realize how serious cricket is.
No, I mean, genuinely, like I'm just saying, like, I feel like that's the equivalent of if somebody in England or Australia or somewhere like that was watching this docuseries, they would look at it that way as we would be looking at something in another country.
No. Well, it definitely it makes some sense. When it comes to cricket, though, it's all over my head.
I just use it as an example.
It's a bad example. I use shuttlecock instead.
Yeah, it's like
use some badminton.
Yes, because we've seen all of those.
It's like, what do you mean? Like, sometimes it's bad to throw it past the hitter? Like, I don't get the rules at all.
I thought you had to skip it on the ground,
No, we saw one girl swing at a fastball inside. I mean, look, Cal Riley didn't even get to hit some of those last night. He got hit by his dad. I mean, look, I didn't think you could do that. I didn't think you could actually throw a fastball inside in cricket. I had no idea. So
who did really bad last night? Jazz Chisholm. That was embarrassing.
Out of all of the players that played last night, I did not see his series at all. Like, I don't know why.
Good job.
I genuinely don't. Like, I saw everybody else's except for him. I don't know if it was because I was, getting my daughter out of the bath and I was getting her ready for bed. I don't know if I just was doing something during that I wasn't paying attention, but I never saw a single second of his at bat.
Oh no, they just don't hang on the home run derby anymore. Like, I mean, they're trying to get these batters in and out like as fast as possible.
Well, yeah, because they only have 3 minutes, I believe is what it is. Well, okay. And the design of what it was about is one in which that they're trying to make it where when you get to the championship, it's not one home run versus two because the player is so tired.
Yeah.
Like, you genuinely want to continue to see bombs out of the guys. So you've got to shorten everything.
Yeah. And Riley, the guy from Seattle ended up winning that thing.
Raleigh.
Yeah, Cal. And I feel like we brought him up.
It's like that racing that you watch. It's a Raleigh.
It's a Raleigh. No, we brought him up like 2 weeks ago, and this is like the first time he really was on my radar, because he was going like on 34 home runs or something, leading the MLB, and I was just like, how did I miss this? And I just totally did not see anything from Seattle all season long until he started hitting the headlines, because he was the only guy above Aaron Judge with the home runs. So I thought it was interesting. But no, you did not miss anything with Jazz Chisholm, dude. I mean, he should not have been out there. He was there to have fun, and he had the hat backwards. He was wearing the drip, the Atlanta uniform, which those All-Star uniforms. I guess if they're already super bad, you just kind of give up.
I will tell you, as bad as the jerseys were, the hats, I really didn't hate that much. I genuinely didn't really hate the hats.
I'm glad you had a change of heart on those.
No, I'm talking. No. The hats tonight are going to be awful. No, the hats tonight are so dumb. The 2 stars on top. No, that's dumb.
So they were different. They're different in the home run derby than they are.
Yeah, okay. The practice uniforms have their own hats because it matches the jerseys.
Gotcha.
And then the game tonight, the teams will be wearing their quote unquote regular hats, but they're going to have like 2 stars on them, and it's all that. Like, it's going to look bad on the. I'm just glad that they're wearing their actual uniforms tonight, which is going to look way better. But it's one that is part of everything that's happening in Atlanta, because I did not realize how many friends and people that I knew that would actually be at this home run derby last night. Like, the amount of pictures that I was seeing on social media from people that I know was like, remember, John, when I told you a few weeks ago that, me and a buddy used to go out in the front yard and it would turn into home run derby with tennis balls? That guy was there. And I'm like, dude, what the heck?
He's reliving the memories you guys once had.
Yeah, like trust me. Oh, he said he could go back and forth with me on our conversations about those. But like all the people that were in Atlanta for Truist Park, like that was part of what's happening with SEC Media Days, because I saw SEC media members that literally left the College Football Hall of Fame and said, "Peace out, we're heading over to the Battery." They got an Uber, they went over there, they had a great time.
We took an Uber today. It was very nice. Speaking of new uniforms, Joe, Auburn is in the building. They've got a new uniform, even though it's the exact same as last time. But it's Nike. I mean, they just got a new brand that they're rocking with. It's the same. Somebody's going to ask a question about their relationship with Nike and how that's going to, push Auburn moving forward. It's going to go nowhere. I look at the NFL, though, today and this week.
I know what you're about to bring up.
Historically, Joe, during this week, even though we're talking all about this SEC football and college football, it's the highlight. NFL says, let's just pump out all of the uniforms we can for the new season. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have themselves a brand new uniform. The reverse creamsicles. It's the white on white on white, but the creamsicle numbers. These things look amazing. And I already talked about how I'm not a fan of everybody going, they already did the blackout uniforms, so now let's go the whiteout uniforms. I totally retract that statement. I think these are the coolest uniforms in the NFL today.
256-576-4977. I didn't know if you'd actually say it. So
you got to know I'm always right.
No, I was talking to John.
Oh, Bandy said it too. I got to stop saying it so Bandy could say it a little bit more on time.
Look, just letting you know, like that's what it is. When we come back, you were talking about the uniforms. Listen, I want to ask you a question about what's happening there today, because there's a uniqueness about all the teams that are there today. Do you know the one thing that all 4 teams have in common?
I do, but I'm going to wait.
No, you say the answer. What do they have in common?
I thought we were setting up for the last segment.
Well, we are. Just continue.
First-year starting quarterbacks.
Every single one of them have first-year starting quarterbacks. So, of the 4, which one do you think is going to have the best season statistically?
Yes, we get to rank more quarterbacks.
We do. See? Just follow me, baby bird. I'll feed you. We'll be back on the Blitz, 97.7 ESPN The Zone and WZZN TV.
This is The Blitz with Joe Hunk and John Abraham. 256-576-4977.
Never went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal.
The Drive in Atlanta is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate, and Adams. We know great homes. Eagle Masonry and Insulation will save you money. Jacob Title, the place to call for all your closing needs. And by Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we show up.
With the summer heating up, it's time to cool down, and what better way to do that than enjoy some Handel's homemade ice cream. Handel's ice cream makes each batch by hand using only the best tasting ingredients to serve ice cream lovers in the Tennessee Valley. With 2 locations to serve ice cream lovers along Highway 72 West and 1 in Jones Valley, the #1 ice cream on the planet, according to National Geographic magazine, is just a quick drive and scoop away. It's Handel's ice cream, where the proof is in the scoop.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Best of all, now Thompson Tractor is making that investment even better with our Workhorse Special. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the purchase of a new Cat 255 compact track loader that comes with a 3-year warranty. You also get a 74-inch bucket and 1,000-hour filter kit. But hurry, this offer is only good through June 30th. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor, we're here for you.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
You've been paying on that life insurance policy for years, but maybe you don't really need it anymore, or it's gotten a bit too expensive. Well, before you just let it expire, let Neighbors Insurance Solutions share with you some alternatives that you haven't considered. Don't throw away something that still may have great value for you. If you want to learn more about what Neighbors Insurance Solutions can do for you, call 256-763-7693. A death benefit could be a life benefit. Learn more at 256-763-7693.
Listen to the Rocket City Trash Pandas all season long.
Next pitch is drilled. Deep to left field. Back goes Edsel. At the wall. It's out of here. A home run. Like a tomato. Ketchup squished it.
Trash Panda Baseball is only on Talk Radio WZZN.
Last time at best segment, Joe Hunk, John Abraham, the Blitz, SEC Media Day 2. About to wrap up for us. Tom Abraham Show going to be coming up live from there at noon, not only in Huntsville, but also in Winchester and in Nashville. So you can be listening to it wherever you listen to the Tom Abraham Show, as he is going to be sitting at that exact same chair that John is sitting in here in just about an hour from now after Hugh Freeze talks on the podium.
And Joe, you left off with these quarterbacks that are in the building today. There's 3 of them, whereas Joey Aguilar from Tennessee is not in the building. He was not one of Josh Heupel's 3 disciples that came with him. I just wanted to say that because it rhymed. But you were talking about ranking some of these guys.
The whole time I thought he was going. I did in my head the entire time I thought he was there. That is sad. Sorry.
No, he's not here. What are you talking about? No,
I thought he was the whole time, and I'm looking at the list now, and I was like, I swear I thought he was bringing Aguilar.
The kid's still setting up his dorm room. Come on now, or whatever these college players get. They might get like
so's Jackson Arnold.
Condos. I mean, it's just. I don't know.
What did you say?
Condos. I said condos.
Condos. Okay.
Good deal.
Condos.
I did in fact say condom. It was an accident.
Okay.
Condos.
Look, man. As long as I'm gonna be honest, you can ask every single quarterback that is there this week. It's all about protection, and that's all it's about. Okay.
Protection. That's a great spin on it. But before we get into that conversation, I do want to hop into the phone lines. Joe, who do we got?
We got Spider in Gurley, 256-576-977. How's it going, bro?
Yo. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Good. Congratulations to Joe Hunk on his family.
Hey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, look, on your premise, I'm going to say Archie Manning, Gunner, and then the other 2 y'all could pick.
Absolutely.
On making the most yards and doing the most successful. I will come in on a hot take and say Gunner's going to have the most running yards.
Oh, see, that one's interesting because of how Aguilar plays. Yeah, that one's interesting.
Don't forget Arch Manning also got some legs too,
and Arch does as well. So yeah, no, that's interesting. That's interesting. You said that.
Even Jackson Arnold.
If Arch is going to run a lot, that means they're not getting their plays in.
No, you're right.
And
true that.
Tennessee's just going to be a train wreck. How'd you think Kirby did today?
I like some of the things that he hit on as far as he mentioned the fact about A4s versus A4s. He thinks there's going to be more of that. I love the discussion about being driven versus being complacent with where you are. I loved what the part that he talked about as well about Nick Saban, where it was like one of those like, look, man, you guys are just really just looking for something to hit on here at SEC Media Days. Almost like it was guys, this is a non-story. Let's not even try to start this. So I think that he went in there on a purpose about, the types of players that he's looking for and he's wanting to. And I think that he used Gunnar Stockton as a good example about how, the whole idea of training like you're the starter, it sounds, we've heard the cliche for so many years, but then in Gunnar Stockton's thing is, look, if he hadn't have been, that game against Texas at the very end of the season in the SEC championship game would have went totally different if he hadn't have been practicing like that. So I like the fact that he brought that up.
I think Gunnar will get the RPO right and have a lot of open space and be able to get some yards. And it'll be a great season for everybody. How's Atlanta treating y'all?
Well, Atlanta's treating me very well. Long days, that is for sure. Yesterday we got here at like 6 something, and we didn't leave until 8 p.m. But a lot of fun always at the Hall of Fame, and we got to see some extra things like that screening I was talking about earlier for that new Netflix show. They fed us well, and there is a lot of Dr. Pepper. There's always so much Dr. Pepper. It's terrible. It's wonderful. Yeah, can you actually give me one?
Here in North Alabama, and substituting. Looking forward to working in the Huntsville City Schools this year.
Oh, it's awesome, bro.
Wait, what are you going to be subbing for? Like any kind of subject?
Oh, okay.
I'm a former English teacher, but I'll do whatever they tell me.
You so would hate me.
No, you have it. You take it.
Yeah.
Local sports are great here in Huntsville, and it's great y'all are working hard for the SEC. The Tide will have a good day tomorrow, I'm sure. Who are they bringing with them?
So Alabama, I have the list pulled up right here. So, Alabama is coming up tomorrow, and what they're going to have is Tim Keenan is going to be coming there. Deontay Lawson and Caden Proctor is going to be who Kalen DeBoer is bringing with him.
Of course, back in the day, only seniors got to talk to the media if you're on a SEC team.
Yep, that was another Nick Saban rule that kind of went out the door the very moment that he walked out. Is only seniors were the ones.
Two of those guys are seniors. Come on now.
He means in general, even during the football season, it was only seniors that actually got to talk with the media.
Right. Did Gunner say anything today to the media?
I have not seen his podium just yet. They just started posting some of the things that the Georgia players were doing as he was walking through yet. So because we've been on the air and that's not being like televised where we can grab it. So
Spotter, if you don't want to catch
the transcripts of a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, if you want to catch that as well, and we appreciate that call, you can check it out over on WZZN TV. We're going to have all of the interviews over there that you guys can watch and enjoy. But we real quick, before we get out of here for today, let's do this little quarterback ranking of the quarterbacks that are here as well as Joey Aguilar. Joe, I'll let you go first.
See, that was my thing is I think that's the reason why I put statistically in on this. Is because from like a statistical standpoint, I wouldn't think that Gunner's going to have the stats that you would see from like an Arch.
Yeah.
So I would definitely put Arch 1.
Okay.
God, I want to say I actually think that Aguilar may have more stats than what I think Gunner Stockton will, just because of the offense.
You're petty, Joe.
No,
you're petty.
And
then Jackson Arnold 4th for you?
Oh, Jackson Arnold's 14th. So the reason, and I'm saying this all wholeheartedly, not as far as ability. It is because of the fact of the offense that Tennessee plays versus the offense that Georgia plays.
Gotcha.
That Aguilar would have higher stats than what Gunner would. It's the only reason. It's not about the wins or losses on that.
I think that's interesting. I'm going Arch Manning. I'm going Jackson Arnold, Gunner Stockton, Joey Aguilar. That's it.
Okay.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time